for the... I think you may have to slide in a little bit more this way.
Okay.
Just so we get the right light. Yeah, for the very first time, 90 Till Infinity live on YouTube, and we won't have any audio issues. How wonderful is that? What's good, y'all? Thanks for joining. I am Elite A-L-I-T-E.
I'm Riz, the hip hop connoisseur.
And this is the 90s Till Infinity Hip Hop Podcast. And we've reviewed some pretty incredible albums, but this one we're taking it back. But we're taking it back to the time where, at least for us, was like the greatest time in hip hop.
100%. Early to late 90s.
Yeah, early to late 90s. So dope that I brought the freaking Fat Farm hat back.
Fat Farm.
And this is not just a fitted. This is a flex fit.
Show the inside, because people.
What y'all know about the flex fit?
Come on.
The flex fit, you
if
had
you
to
know,
be lucky,
you know.
And you had to be lucky if it fit.
So true. Yeah.
And we're doing something a little bit. We got a couple segments we want to do with y'all today, just to make sure that y'all know that we're actually thinking about the content, wanted to make it look dope, wanted to make it something that you guys can actually care about watching.
Yes.
And we're gonna start off this episode. First of all, the album that we're gonna talk about. Why don't you intro the album first?
So the album we're doing today is from an artist that we both deem, Elite and myself, as, I'm gonna say, even not just the greatest hip hop artist of all time. I think for me, probably one of my favorite artists in general, not just hip hop.
Across genres.
Across genres.
Yeah.
And just not only musically but influentially as someone that a modern day Malcolm X.
For sure.
Modern day MLK. Modern day. I mean, the guy, he was a poet, a preacher. I mean, everything. A ghetto savant.
Yeah.
One of the best musician turned actors.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's funny. So who we're talking about? We're talking about Tupac Shakur. So me and Elite were going back and forth on which album to do. So he had 4 albums prior to his passing, and then a bunch of albums posthumous. So the album we're doing today is called Makaveli, the 7-day Killuminati, the 7-day theory. So this was released in September of 1996.
Before you get any deeper, I want y'all to know the point of this is the very first thing we're going to do moving forward in the High Phrase Presents 90 Till Infinity podcast. We're doing something called Connoisseur's Corner.
Yes.
And Riz got all the stats logged from album sales, album charting and all that. So we're going to make sure we start off every episode with the Connoisseur's Corner. Yeah. And this is the very first time we're doing it. And I'll let Riz run it.
What episode are we on now, Lee?
This would be 7.
You're keeping track.
Yeah.
Episode 7.
Pretty dope.
Look at that.
It's pretty
and
dope.
We're still here. So Makaveli.
Yes.
Killuminati, the 7-day theory. Quite the title. His 5th album. First album passed after his death. But recorded prior to his death. Released after his death.
Or was it?
So why did we choose this album? Now, there were 4 albums prior to this that he released. Apocalypse Now. Strictly for My Ends, Me Against the World, and All Eyes on Me. Now, those are some strong albums.
Yeah, and you can maybe call Thug Life a Pac album.
That's, you know what, I didn't even think about that.
But it's not all Pac.
Yeah, it's a compilation album, but it's Tupac heavy.
Tupac presents
Right.
Thug Life.
Right.
Yeah.
This is also the first album where he goes under a different moniker.
Yes.
Right?
And who prior to Pac has done? I can't think of anybody who's switched their whole identity in hip hop to a different rap name.
To a rap name.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, I don't know.
I think obviously we got Prince, but that's not hip hop.
You know what? That's actually a really good question, and I should know that. We should.
I mean, you got Wu, but they're all aliases, so that's different.
They're all aliases.
Yeah. I know MF Doom changed his name, but he wasn't known prior to, so that doesn't matter. RZA was Prince Rakim. Rakim.
Actually,
no one cared.
Actually, I'll give you one.
Who?
But this is very abstract.
Who?
But hey, that's why we're here. We know the facts and you don't. Mac Dre went under his real name, the moniker of Andre Nicotina.
Oh,
So he released albums under
word.
both.
That's kind of dope.
So that's, yeah.
That's a good one.
So there you go.
Yeah.
It's not on a big scale as Tupac, but anyways.
Enter Makaveli.
So Makaveli.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay, let's talk about the facts.
Yes.
There's just so much to talk about. Sorry. All over the place. Okay, so his first Tupac's posthumous album, unfortunately after his passing, it was recorded between July and August of 1996.
Crazy.
So we were entering our last year of high school.
Yes.
Our grad year.
Yes.
Wow.
And he recorded it in a month?
He actually recorded that. So it took place within those 2 months, but the actual album was done in 7 days, and that's why it was called the 7-Day Theory.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that's why it was called the 7-Day Theory. So it was released on November 5th, 1996, 2 months, a little over 2 months after his passing.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember
Almost to the day.
when he passed? We were together.
Yeah, we were.
Remember? And we were at Elite's house in his living room watching the headlines with his older brother, my cousin.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of processing the whole thing, right?
Yeah. We were pretty close to some tear shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah.
And I think the first thing we did was...
A lot of silence, right?
Yeah, a lot of quiet.
Yeah.
And I think the first thing we did was we went to like Richmond Center.
Yes.
And we bought whatever album we didn't have.
You're right.
Yeah, and it came back and
That's
it was
right.
just Pac the whole night. Just Pac.
And I that's right, because I ended up buying All Eyes on Me again.
Yes.
A sealed copy, which I still have.
It's crazy.
To this day from A&B Sound, and it still has a sticker on it. But we were huge Tupac fans.
Yeah,
Now,
sure.
shout out to Elite, because when Tupac first came out, not only me, but I think a lot of people, especially on this side of the world, especially in Canada, we really weren't up on Tupac musically.
Yeah.
We knew him as an actor, and he was great at that. Like Juice is where I first saw him.
Yeah.
And then, Above the Rim and Poetic Justice. But musically, he didn't release anything that we really were like, we weren't running out to buy a Tupac album.
No, not at all. And the only and it's so funny because Digital Underground was kind of pop.
Yeah.
Kind of, because they had the Humpty Dance.
Like party rap?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, and they had that same song, Pac's first one.
Right.
And Pac wasn't a part of Digital Underground as an artist.
No.
But when he did that verse on same song, the way he came in with the almost double time, really stacked cadence, I remember seeing him then thinking, no one raps like this guy.
No.
This is very different. I didn't think anything of him. I didn't think he was going to be a star or any of that stuff. But I remember that standing up like, wow, that guy can spit.
Yeah,
Very different.
See, you saw that in him, and I remember I just was like, nah. And you're like, no, I think we saw him on Arsenio, remember?
Right.
And then you were like, no, he's gonna be.
Yeah.
He's rap. And I'm like, nah, I don't see it. I didn't get it. But keep in mind, we were in the midst of Ruthless and Death Row.
And we were
just,
kids.
Just all this great hip hop.
Yeah.
And Tupac kind of was. I don't know. I just saw him more of an actor. I think a lot of people did because he wasn't selling a lot of units musically.
No, he was not. No.
But where we really got to see him shine was his third album, which was Me Against the World,
Oof.
because that had some commercial hits,
Incredible.
like Me Against the World, and it was also featured on the Bad Boys soundtrack, which kind of elevated him
Massive.
to everybody.
Yeah, massive.
Right. So you had to be a Tupac fan, and then he went to jail, and then there was all this.
And he just keep your head up, like, come on.
Right.
Come
Keep
on.
your head up.
Come on.
And then, like you said, Thug Life, So Many Tears, all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Dropped on November the 5th, the week before my
November
birthday.
the 5th, a week before your birthday.
Yeah.
That's right. Under the stage name Makaveli, released through Death Row, and actually released under his newly founded Makaveli record label.
Oh, right.
Which was supposed to be his kind of separation from Death Row eventually, right, and do his own thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we never saw that flourish. Now, this was the only album that he released under the name Makaveli. Everything after this, all the post albums. So this was the last album that Tupac was involved in. After that, everything that came, like Are You Still Down and a couple other ones, that was all just compilate. That was just albums that were put together or unreleased songs.
Yeah,
He
there's like a
he didn't have
Makaveli
his-
2, 3, 4, 5.
Right. He didn't have his hands in any of that. right? So this is the last you're gonna see of Tupac, musically, anyways, where he was involved. Um, it's funny because doing research on this album wasn't supposed to be released as an album. I don't know if you knew that. It was supposed to be just a mixtape.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, like he didn't even like it was just supposed to be like a. I don't want to say a throwaway, but it was just supposed to be like a
contract fulfillment.
It was not a real deal. Like kind of, he didn't really take it seriously
because he had the 3-album contract with Death Row.
That's correct.
And this would technically would have been the third because he did the double.
Right.
So this was a way for him to get
would
out.
have been it for him. But because when he passed, Death Row obviously saw an opportunity there. I mean, let's face it.
Huge.
Right?
Huge.
Let's rebrand this, let's redo this and make it an album, which was actually smart. Because we got an amazing album out of it. So it debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and it sold over 660,000
crazy
in 1996. I mean, that's
and
Drake
number
and
1.
Kendrick numbers now.
And number 1.
And number 1. And hard copies. Once again, we've said that before. This is you have to, like Lead said in the past couple episodes, you had to get your ass off your bedroom, off your living room, and you had to go to a store and buy it, whether it was a tape, vinyl, or a CD. You couldn't stream it.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy it online. You couldn't just buy one song.
Ain't nobody let you borrow the CD either.
Nobody.
Because you don't want your CDs to get scratched up.
Nah,
Hell no.
Especially at Tupac.
Yeah, people don't have no respect. People aren't house trained.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
And CD burners were just coming in, so you felt like you could just burn it and give it to 10 people.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So that's impressive. And by 1999, so a couple years later, it was at 4 times platinum in North America.
God.
So literally in 3 years, or under 3 years, it sold 4 million copies.
Unreal,
right?
4 million copies. This is without global distribution.
Without global distribution, nowadays you gotta tour every state to sell an album. Whether you're Taylor Swift, whether you're Kendrick or Drake, you gotta go out there. This man was not alive anymore. There was only 2 music videos released for this album.
Right.
And there's no promotion on it.
No. And one of the videos didn't even have him in it.
That's right. Right.
4 million copies. Unbelievable.
So, check this out. None of the singles even charted the Billboard. Like, none of the singles.
Some of the songs on here, but the album, number 1. That's pressure.
But that just shows the power of Tupac.
Yeah,
he didn't need singles to chart
at all
to sell, a ridiculous amount of copies.
Yeah, you knew you were gonna get a project.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Album was actually supposed to be originally released in 1997 as a mixtape-ish. Like Lee said, it was kind of a contract obligation, one last album. But because of his untimely death, they obviously wanted to capitalize on that and release it a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Which they did. The album's been ranked as not only one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, it's been ranked as one of the greatest albums of all time.
Damn.
What do you feel about that in both instances?
So definitely one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. I think this album is out of Pac's catalog, really underrated. And I know there were some recording quality things that may not have been Death Row quality. Dre didn't get his hands on it. It didn't have that super mix, the crystal clear sounds that you'd want from a Pac album.
It wasn't mastered impeccably
not what we're used to.
Yeah, but that was the beauty of the album too, right?
Yes,
in a way?
because it lent itself to that cryptic feeling of him not being here anymore.
Right.
And it made it almost feel like this is so crazy. I'm gonna bring this example up a little bit later, but it kind of gives you this feel like he was kind of rapping from the grave.
Yeah.
Because some of the messages he threw in there really felt like he was coming from someplace else. It didn't feel like
right.
Technically, physically, he wasn't, but it definitely felt like
it's almost
something
like
different.
He knew, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It was a foreshadow of what
absolutely,
was to come.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Especially the way he broke down some things when they came to Jimmy the Henchman and stuff like that. Yeah. You could feel the foreshadowing. Right. Absolutely.
Do you think that's the beauty of his music, where it is kind of cryptic and it's a little bit? There's a lot of not controversy, but there's a lot of actions, events that happened in his life that took his rap to a this type of a level.
Yeah, yeah.
Where if he didn't have this kind of drama, maybe the rap wouldn't be as good.
For sure, because
the songs wouldn't be
because it gave his character credibility.
Right.
And it's such a terrible example now to see what people consider to be thugs, gangsters,
right,
people that have reps who would never do the kind of things that Pac did in real life.
Right.
Like the things that rappers talk about in their music, Pac lived. Like going to war with the cops, Pac lived that.
Right.
Going to war with politicians, Pac lived it.
Right.
Go to war with dudes in the street, Pac lived it.
It's true.
He was there on the street, going through the work. So the music, when you hear the music, it felt like, this dude just came from the hospital, the bullet wound is still bleeding, and he's rapping it in a mic.
Yeah.
That rawness was alive.
He was real life, and nowadays you're getting REEL, real life, right?
That's really good.
Right? There's a difference.
Yes, yes,
yeah,
sure.
And growing up in a Black Panther household.
Oh yeah.
And then him just being a smart kid. He went to drama school. It's not like he was a kid gangbanging.
Not at all. Yeah.
He kind of saw all facets of life.
Yep.
So when he spoke, you listened, right?
Yeah, and you got to give that pedigree some credit, right? Like Afeni Shakur, his aunt was Asada Shakur, Mutulu Shakur was right there. So all of these founding fathers of the Panthers had a direct hand in creating what Pac became.
So true. So true.
But let me give a quick house rule first.
Oh yeah.
For everybody that smokes, what we're trying to do is I'm trying to get a compilation of people that smoke. Take your first toke, send it to the High Phrase Instagram, and we'll add you in our shorts.
I like it.
We'll add the stills in our shorts. If you can, try to light up at a 420, whether it's 420, 14, 20, 20, 420, whatever it is, as long as it got 420 in the end, house rules.
There you go. I like that, house rules.
Yeah.
It's good.
We'll get some more house rules as we move on.
So a couple of quotes from current rappers about the album. I thought that was an interesting take on it. 50 Cent said, "It's an album that's consistent all the way through," which I agree. And he said, "You can put this on and clean your whole house." And it's true, right?
Yes. Because it's not a short album.
It's not a short album.
Every song is like 5 minutes.
And it's not overly lengthy. There's only 12 tracks.
Yes.
But he's right. I mean, for the most part, you can just let it go.
Yes.
Where nowadays, how many albums can we say that?
I can't think of...
That where
it's extremely rare.
It's
extremely rare.
Right?
And most of them are R&B albums.
It's true.
Yeah.
And even back then, I mean, even with some of the great albums that we witnessed, not every track was good.
No.
I would say 40 to 50% of the album were bangers,
yes.
and the rest were like, okay, skip.
B-side. Yeah.
But this album, in revisiting it again, I didn't do a lot of skipping. I mean, I listened to every track, but listening to it again for a second and third time, you didn't really want to skip a lot.
No.
I don't know if you felt the same way.
Personally, there's one airball for me. This song has never been one that I liked, and it's gonna be weird because when people hear it, like, what? I love that song. But there's one song on the album that's a miss for me.
Oh, there's a couple for me.
So there's one that I feel just was not great, and then there's one I feel like that's really good, but the beat selection was trash. And that's probably because he wasn't there when they chose the beat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this is an interesting album to do because not only is it the first Tupac album that we're doing, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last, but it's also. I think this is the first album where it's a person. It's a posthumous album. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone else.
Albums were alive at the time.
Everyone else is alive.
Right. NWA, Dre.
There's some RIPs in the middle. But overall, no.
But when the album came out, they were. Yeah, it wasn't a. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the first album that we've done where the artist actually passed away, and it was really crazy. So it's a first for a couple of things.
Wow.
2 videos were released for this album. One was Hail Mary, which, like I said earlier, didn't depict
no Pac in sight
at all. It was done after the fact. To Live and Die in LA was the only one that was done while he was here. Cool video. I don't know if you remember the video.
Very cool.
Yep.
He was wearing some Jordans that weren't around.
Nope.
Technically speaking.
His chain with the Versace shirt, right?
Yeah. I mean, riding in a drop top.
Right. Very cool. Very Cali, right?
Yes.
Very West Coast. Yeah.
Yes, felt right.
Album. Okay, so the album cover, is his own conversation.
Oof.
So the album cover was very different from anything we saw in regards to a hip hop album. Album cover draws on the Renaissance portrayals of the crucifixion of Jesus, which is a touchy subject. Regardless if you're a Christian, Catholic, or not.
Very dark.
Even if you're religious, it can hit a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it has Tupac in the image of Christ on the cross, getting crucified, or being crucified, I should say. Head tilted to the side, and he's got a...
I'm looking at it here, that's why I'm looking at it.
He's got a wound on the right side, similar to the wound of Jesus' crucifixion. A bandana is covering the head of Tupac, and the barbed wire covering his hands and feet. And on the cross of Tupac, there's a map. So there's a map connecting various cities from across the country, across the United States, which have large African American populations. So there was a reason why he did that. They weren't just random cities. There were cities where he felt were...
I see.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right?
Word.
Including major urban cities of the east, west, and southern parts of the United States. So Pac was all about unity. Like, say what you want about him and the East Coast and whatnot, but he actually had a lot of friends in the East Coast, right?
Yeah, big time.
And he had a lot of love in the East Coast.
Yep.
I think a lot of the hate was isolated.
Yeah. Well, he was shot in the East, right? He got shot 5 times. It's hard to not have some kind of resentment, and especially the circumstances surrounding the shooting. You know, everyone can say Big didn't do it or whatever, but at the end of the day, Big was upstairs with Puff and them, and Pac was downstairs getting shot.
I mean, there's a lot of coincidences.
For sure,
right?
For sure.
And so you can't, if someone has conspiracy theories, I mean, that's...
They played into all of them.
How can you not be angry?
Yeah, and then like weeks after that, Big comes out with "Who shot ya?"
Right. Right. I mean, there was never proof that Irv Gotti or Ja Rule had anything to do with 50 Cent's shooting, but 50 Cent will tell you that they did it.
Yes.
So this was the same thing. There's no proof, but I mean, it looks a little sus.
It's super sus. Yeah.
So anyway, so the album cover is very interesting.
And he actually put an apology on it.
He put a disclaimer.
Not an apology. A disclaimer.
Yeah, and what does the disclaimer say?
In no way is this portrait an expression of disrespect for Jesus Christ.
So,
Makaveli.
Extreme respect for the religion. He was a very spiritual and religious...
Big time. Only God can judge me, tatted on his body.
Yeah, totally.
And then the back of the album cover.
The back of the album cover.
Yeah, very cryptic messaging on the back.
Yeah, do you want to get into that?
Yeah, so...
Because I have an alternative story for that. But you can.
So in caps, wartime. That's what it says in the back.
Right.
And then exit Tupac, enter Makaveli, which is always really interesting to me. For those of you that don't know the reasoning of Makaveli, is because Pac was an obsessive reader, and he read Niccolò Machiavelli's book.
Correct.
And a lot of the stuff that he talked about in there was how to escape your death. So how to fake your death, I should say. And I did read the book, actually. I got it from the library.
It's funny because I was just going to ask, have you read it?
Yeah, I got it from the library like 10 years ago, and it was a big, thick book. And a lot of it is in prose, so you can't really... It's hard to really feel what he was trying to present because we didn't grow up in that time.
Right.
But you can pull anecdotes out of it. And one of the anecdotes that Pac took from Makaveli was to evade your enemies, you can fake your death and come back.
Right.
Which is why the exit Pac, enter Makaveli is important. And then the executive producer being Simon. This was always weird for me because Suge's legal name is Simon.
Right.
And Simon is also one of the prophets or one of the apostles of Jesus. So it could either be that, referring to Suge, or it could be another character that we don't know about.
What do you think it is?
I don't think it's Suge.
You don't think it's Suge?
I don't think it's Suge. I think it's something deeper than that. And the reason why is because there's so many other cryptic things throughout the album. It doesn't feel like that would make sense. Yeah.
It's weird because when the CD came out and you see enter Makaveli, exit Tupac, and he's no longer with us, it's almost like you said, it's like he knew something, like there was a lot of theories at the time where people thought he faked his death. Yeah. Because in Vegas, you can fake your death and it's not...
It's legal. It's legal, yeah.
And he died in Vegas.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, for a while...
Dude, I thought he faked his death up until the 7th year.
Right.
Up until the 7th year of his passing, I thought he was going to come back.
Right.
And for me, one of the biggest reasons was this because of Asada Shakur. Because she's in Cuba.
Right.
And Cuba has
Good
Cuba
point.
has no extradition clause.
Extradition clause.
You can't extradite people from Cuba. And Asada Shakur to this day is on the FBI's most wanted list.
Right.
To this day,
Yeah.
she hasn't gotten a pardon or anything. And in Cuba, they have a rebel group called the Tupac Amaru Shakur Rebels. So for me, I was like, yo, man, they're hiding him.
Yeah, and I thought the same too because I was like, how can the album have so many clues? It's just too perfect, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like Houdini revealing his act.
100%.
But not the case. I don't
Unfortunately.
think so. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Did you like the cover? I mean,
I remember at the time.
Did you take a lot of reverence to like, oh wow, this is a really dope album cover, or was it kind of like, oh okay?
I remember thinking, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel right.
Agreed.
Because at that time I still had some connections to religion,
Right.
and it felt wrong to see someone being depicted that way. So, now when I look at it, I think it's genius.
So as a Muslim, you found it a little insulting?
Yes. Because Jesus didn't die in Islam.
Right.
There was no cross, none of that happened.
But then what about like movies about Jesus by Christians or figurines that they have in their house that depict the same thing?
I never liked those.
So it was just a general
just a general weirdness about it.
Right.
But now, honestly, now being detached from religion, I look at the album cover now, and even over the years when I look, I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Because him being crucified on the cross is not him being crucified on the cross.
Yeah.
It's him being crucified in general.
In society.
Life, things that went against him.
Yeah.
Right?
Dude was shot, hunted by the cops.
Right. Accused of rape.
So many different things
Right.
coming at him all the time.
Right.
The entire coast trying to beef with him, so I feel like this was very poignant.
Ahead of his time?
Way too far ahead of his time.
Yeah. So you're right. Like Khalid said, it was basically, he read the book, The Prince, when he was in prison, recovering. He was inspired, and he said that he actually, there's a quote where he says, "It's not like I idolize this one guy, Machiavelli. I idolize that type of thinking where you do whatever's going to make you achieve your goal." I think you have that kind of mindset, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm learning it.
Yeah. And
that's
a great mindset to have, right?
Well, the thing is, I don't think you know when you have it. I feel like I thought another time that I had it, it was not even close.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I understand what that means.
Well, maybe you had a form of it.
Yeah. Very small, kind of narrow field. It opens up.
Right.
And I think you've had that forever.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you wouldn't have been able to achieve the things you have without it.
Maybe. First album where Tupac himself co-produced 3 tracks.
That's crazy.
Which is cool.
It's very revealing to his musicality.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Never did this prior. He wrote all his stuff, but he never musically got involved. This album, he was involved in 3 tracks, which is kind of cool. And I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I didn't know that until I re-listened to the album yesterday. Hold on one second, guys. We got a temporary interruption from a child here. God, your timing is terrible. Child.
That's awesome.
Sorry, guys. We got a child interrupt the process. Hold on one sec. We're just about back. Screen lock. Make sure there's no lock on the screen. Okay, it says orientation is locked, but it looks like we're still live. And I don't know why that's saying that. Hold on one sec. Right, looks like we're still live. One sec. What song is this again?
Really Living.
Yes. Rascals. Okay, so listen, we're back live. Sorry about the interruption, guys. I do have a young child that needed access.
Small parental break.
And we're back.
We're back.
I don't know why it keeps telling me this orientation is locked. Hold on one sec. I want to make sure we're not doing something wrong. It doesn't mess up the process.
Stand by for some technical difficulties.
In the meantime, you gotta look at my face. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says orientation is locked, but we're gonna keep going anyways because it says we're still live. And okay, so we were talking about. We haven't even gotten the first song yet.
We haven't.
Album cover.
Okay. So the album cover. So one final thing, and I remember reading about this probably a couple years ago because I didn't know it existed. But do you know that the back cover of the album was supposed to be something else?
What do you mean?
Okay, so the back cover, like Lee said, had some cryptic things on it or whatever. But the initial cover for the back had the track listing, but it had a bunch of images on it. And I've seen it, and if you look it up, you can see it at some point.
Oh damn!
But it's bad. So basically, the original back cover had images of Notorious B.I.G. as a pig, drawn as a pig, Diddy, Puff Daddy, in a ballerina tutu, and Dr. Dre being bent over by a drag queen. And these were actual drawn images on the back
boy.
cover. They decided not to do it due to
I'm sure there'd be lots of
legal ramifications. But yeah, and I've seen it, and it's got the same backdrop, but it's got these, and it's bad. It's drawn really well, but it's bad.
Pac is, hey, he's scorned. He was a scorned man.
He was a scorned man.
Yeah.
So this is a very I don't know. It's an angry album.
For
sure. It's a lot of things.
A lot of anger.
A lot of anger.
Yeah.
Last fun fact before we go into the tracks. A friend of Tupac said that on the day that he was murdered, while driving to the Tyson fight, Tupac was listening to Nas's "It Was Written" album.
Damn.
The whole thing, all day.
It's a great album.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he goes at Nas on this album
a couple times
specifically.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the first time he went against Nas. He never went against him on All Eyes on Me. This was the first album where he actually said Nas' name.
Didn't he say Nas' name and hit him up?
He said Mobb Deep. Did he say Nas too?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did say Nas. Pretty sure that was his first name.
I know he said Mobb Deep, Chino XL,
Jay-Z, Hawaiian Sophie fame.
Did he say Nas?
I feel like he did. Maybe it's the Mandela effect happening.
Let us know if someone can go out and do some research and say on Hit 'Em Up. Did he diss Nas? I don't know. I don't remember Nas' name, but you could be right. It just doesn't stand out in my head.
We have Google for a reason.
We do have Google for a reason. And my man Ali here can type 80 words a minute. Just like
type an SPG in.
I can type 0.8 words a minute.
But you don't have to. When you're the boss, it don't matter.
This is true. I pay people to type 80.
That's what it's at. That's where it's at. Okay. Let's see.
So flipping the coin. Who's right? Elite or Riz? It's probably going to be Elite. I just don't remember Nas's name on Hit 'Em Up, but you could be right.
Oh, and another thing that I feel like needs to be said, because it might be an unpopular opinion, the Outlaws as a crew are Pac's ride or die. They are very important to Pac. I've never thought that they were good rappers. But this album, they sound the best that I've heard them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to have some... we're going to have some counterpoints there.
Because we've heard them a lot.
We have.
Not be good.
We have.
Yes.
And it's funny because I feel the other way around. You had mentioned something about the Outlaws previously.
Yep.
Where you said that, like, they're not good. I was like, in my head, I was like, nah, they're great. They're pretty good, right? And they're not. They're not that good. I think they were a moment in time.
Yeah.
The names of the crew were very cool. Dictators.
Yeah, I like all that.
And, if you're with Pac, you already got
100%,
credibility, right?
100%.
But
yeah,
trust me when I say they watered down so many of the songs.
Yeah.
From a nice strong drink to a shitty nightclub $15 fucking mocktail. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like Pac was all about let's like it's like the Jade Memphis Bleak scenario.
Yeah, they're a loyalty pick.
Right.
Big time. You guys have been down with me. You guys have been loyal. You guys can ride with me. Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. I don't know. And so I agree with you with your earlier statement prior in regards to them not being that good because my eyes really opened listening to this album going, wow, they just really they just know how to fuck up a good song. I don't know.
So while we look at this, while we find this out, I'm scanning the lyrics.
Yeah.
Let's get into the first track.
Yeah, let's get into let's get into this. So the album has a total of 12 tracks. No intros, no outros, no interludes.
Mm-hmm.
All straight.
Just music.
12. Yeah, so songs. Some of the songs have exits or intros.
Yep.
But it's the song it's in its own totality, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a total length of 59 minutes. Not a lot. That's not even an hour.
And
just under an hour.
And 12 tracks has 5 minutes a track. They don't make
exactly.
5-minute tracks anymore.
No, they don't. This was the first time where he used all new producers.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't use, obviously Dre was no longer in Death Row at that time, so there was no Dre. He didn't use any of the producers that he used on All Eyes on Me or Me Against the World. Guys like Johnny J.
Yeah.
Guys like Daz.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Quick.
It's crazy because I felt like I heard Daz's production on this album, but it's not.
Yeah, no, nobody. And he used a newcomer at the time, QD3, which is Quincy Jones' son, who's a music producer and in charge of
documentary maker and all that stuff. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And you are correct. No Nas mentioned on Hit 'Em Up.
There you go.
Yep.
I should have bet you.
But man,
you would be that rich man with all your millions. So then. This album is the first time he goes
directly at Nas.
Yeah. Okay. First track titled one last fact. So the album was titled Makaveli Killuminati the 7-Day Theory.
Yeah.
But Tupac actually wanted it to be Makaveli the Dawn.
Right.
But when he passed, things got mumbled in them trying to release it quicker, that they didn't put the Dawn. But he specifically wanted that as his artist name.
Because he shouts it out in the album a couple times. Makaveli the Dawn.
Yeah. But I think Makaveli hits harder.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
It's just something about it.
Yeah, the Dawn is a little comical, but for that time, that's kind of the names that you had.
That's exactly
in hip hop.
Because it was very mafia heavy.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so the first track is titled Bomb First, quotations, My Second Reply. So why is it called My Second Reply? Can you educate the...
For sure, yeah. So this one was a follow-up to Hit 'Em Up. Nobody really did a direct diss track to Pac, calling his name out from that era. Mobb Deep was super veiled, would drop a gem on him. I don't really know if Big has a diss track. He claimed he didn't diss Pac in any of his songs.
He never uses his name.
He never uses his name.
Right.
I think on Life After Death, he says, he references something about having trouble with that guy.
Right.
Something along those lines, but he never says Tupac.
Yeah.
And
Jay
I don't think
never did.
Yeah, Jay was never.
Jay, he was already passed away. At
Yeah.
that point. And Mobb Deep said thug shit.
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah. They insinuated the facts about him.
Yes.
But they didn't use his name.
Yes.
You're right.
And others have taken
yeah.
like sideways shots, but
Right.
no one really mentioned his name. I think XL.
I was just gonna say, I think he was the only one, but I mean, he was an underground rapper. Nobody
even heard it. Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, so it was a follow up, and you know what? Now that because I mean, I love this song, but it never really gets mentioned in diss tracks, eh?
Which is weird.
Which is extremely weird.
Because it's really good.
Because it should be in the top 10 diss tracks.
Yeah.
It's so much better than
it's a monster.
The Kendrick and Drake stuff. I still think it's still better than some of that. Like because it really hit hard.
Yeah,
right?
it did. Yeah.
And then the music on top of it is okay. Yeah, let's just get into it. So first track, Bomb First, quotations, my second reply, featuring not all of the Outlaws, but two members of the Outlaw, Idi Amin and Young Noble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my feedback on it, it contains disses towards Bad Boy Records, the whole label, Jay-Z, Mobb Deep, Nas, and Exhibit. Because and that wasn't Pac going after Exhibit. I just want to clarify. It was Young Noble, I think.
EDI.
Or it was the EDI, right. And he says something along the lines
got a little question for the paparazzi.
Was,
you in this rap game, motherfucking cash man.
Right.
What is your motherfucking purpose?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that was his first hit single, Paparazzi.
Massive.
Exhibit's first
Great
hit
song.
single. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
Starts off with a news reporter talking about Tupac and how he's his distaste for all these East Coast rappers.
With the heartbeat thumping.
Good point.
And the little boom, the church bells.
Very chaotic background, right? Like it's like something's about to kind of pop off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, radio silence, and then gunshots.
Amazing.
And then he just starts going off in just the way Tupac could only go, where you just get you know he's just gonna go. Like, you know what I mean? It's just you get amped up, right? You just even now you get goosebumps listening to it.
Thinking about it.
There's a build up. There's a build up to what he does, and that he can only do so well. Idi Amin and Young Noble. I mean, shout outs to them. They're part of hip hop. They're part of hip hop's legacy, but they don't. For me, they don't really add anything to the song. I rather would have heard Tupac do the whole song.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
This is what Pac does. Even on Hit 'Em Up,
Mm-hmm.
he only did 2 verses and he gave the Outlaws the rest of the verses.
Yeah, and I think the thing that this song shows, for me at least, is that Pac and how he adds melodies to hooks. It doesn't matter what he's saying, you feel the hook. Because the hook is insane. It's a death threat. We bomb first when we ride, please. We consider for you die. We come to hurt nobody tonight, but it's my life or your life, and I'm a bomb first. It's a melody and a death threat and a hook that you would sing at a club at full volume.
Yeah.
And we gotta talk about the first couple lines from Pac.
Go for it.
I think this is a really good indicator of where Pac's writing was going. Because Pac, he really had that preachy sing-song flow, but I think he would show pockets of him being like a really deadly MC. And I think this song was a great indicator of where he was going with it. Allow me to introduce first Makaveli the Don, hysterical spirit to liberate like the Holy Quran, shoot like 5-0. My 45 is next to me when we ride for survival. Money making plans, pistol close at hands, rolling pockets. Let me introduce the topic, then we drop it. For people that say Pac wasn't a lyricist,
you're crazy.
You gotta look at the intricately laid out bars where every word rhymes with the next line. That sophistication with the pen, I think that's where Pac was going.
Agreed.
And there would have been no stopping him as far as growth as an artist.
If he's not a lyricist, please tell me who is.
Insane. Because, that's kind of been the weird trend in social media with some of these younger generations. Like, oh yeah, Pac is cool, but he's not a lyricist. Like, what are you talking about?
Why do you think that is? Is it because because people directly compare him to Big because of their feud.
I don't even think it's Big. I think people start comparing him with Cole, Kendrick,
Yeah.
M, and they look at the sophistication of the writing and how much has changed over the years. But I don't think you're doing Pac justice by that comparison, because Pac never had a chance to evolve to that place. Pac was evolving rap while he was rapping. Because after he passed, a generation of rappers came after him that directly jacked the style.
He birthed them.
Birthed all of them.
Right.
Honestly, for like the next 10 years, Pac birthed rappers off of his style. People that came and co-opted his style, people that tried to be the next Pac,
facts.
all the way up to like Ja Rule, right?
Facts.
And even a lot of these new gangster rappers, this dude called himself Young Thug. Obviously, that's borrowed from Pac.
I mean, where is,
You know, Lil Wayne was heavily influenced by Pac. He's still one of the GOATs.
True.
Drake shouts out Pac in his songs.
Yeah. Drake, huge.
Kendrick has said Pac came to him in a dream.
Yeah.
And told him to make the music he's making.
Yeah.
So I think Pac's influence can't be undermined by anybody. So for this next generation that's saying, oh yeah, he's this, you just don't understand hip hop.
So you as an artist and a lyricist, I mean, you could be the greatest, and I've said this before, we've had conversations, where you could be the greatest lyricist, but you might not be impactful.
100%.
So
I think Logic is a great example of that.
That's actually a really good one.
Yeah.
He that's a good example.
Yeah.
Right? Even Logic's a good one. I mean, like someone like Skills.
Yeah, Matt Skills.
Right? Great lyricist.
Yep.
I can't name you 5 Skills songs.
Yeah, I think Royce the 5'9" gets the same issue.
Royce the 5'9".
I think Black Thought has the same issue.
You know, it's funny, I was going to say Black Thought.
And
then I thought about it, but it's true.
Personally, one of the greatest artists.
But I can't name Black Thought.
I can name an album that I love.
Yeah.
But I couldn't name you the songs off the album. All I know is when I listen to Black Thought, I'm tuned in.
If someone can tell me what the thing is with Tupac and him not being a lyricist, I would love to understand, because listening to hip hop for over 30 years, how do you not think he's now? Not every song is going to be a lyrical, home run out the park, but who does that? Every song for M is not a. He doesn't, but
there's a lot of nonsense,
right? Lil Wayne, same thing.
And the thing you're not taking that people don't take into consideration is the thematic value of Pac. Like he was painting pictures in the music. The storytelling made you feel like you were a part of his story.
True.
When he would shout out homies that passed, I felt like they were my homies that passed. Because something about the way he would, it was almost as if he was like pleading with you to listen. Yeah. Like you could see the veins in his neck as he was like yelling the lyrics at you, right? I think X did this really well too. DMX, when he came on the first couple albums, I think the way the impassioned lyrics made you feel him way more than the words on the page.
He invokes something in you when you listen to it. Even now.
But we also got to give a shout out to a really trash ass lyric from Young Noble. And it's crazy. I saw Young Noble in the podcast on Vlad. I was like, yo, I like Young Noble, man. Young Noble's cool as fuck.
He's the one who wears the bandana.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And he's cool as shit, man.
Yeah, he's good. He's got a lot of stories.
Great storyteller, a lot of cool things to say, real reverence for Pac. Yeah. But this, your style whack as ever, like you was rocking patent leather. Yeah. Causing massive terror. Y'all ends lack, you ain't thorough. Yeah. Half rapper, half drug kingpin. You're telling fairy tales done. King of New York like you the mother effing one. That part's not bad. But
that's a Queensboro reference.
Very East Coast.
So you really need to know hip hop.
Yeah.
That's Mobb Deep. That's
yes.
So he's obviously very East Coast influenced. But
and Idi Amin's verse is not bad. It's okay.
It's not horrible. It's just when you have, it's like, it's like LeBron and then everybody else on the team.
Yes, and because EDI's flow is always a step behind the beat, it sounds like he's playing catch up all the time. He does. Pac rode beats flawlessly. If there's one thing that I could say Pac did, I would possibly say the greatest was
I wouldn't disagree.
Riding the beat.
Yes.
Sitting in the pocket, nailing every single one. And another thing people don't really think about when you hear Pac is the doubling of the vocals.
Right.
Every Pac verse, the vocals are doubled. And that was deliberate. That was his choosing. It was very deliberate.
Correct.
He rapped the verse would rap over top of the same verse, and it's rare that you get someone that does that all the way through the track.
It's true.
And that's a very
it's a very cool effect.
I think it is. It's a very pop thing.
It adds to the song. It adds another layer. Yeah. So, your thoughts on the how many CDs out of 5 would you rate it?
It's so frustrating because of the features. It's so frustrating, and this is one of my favorite verses of Pac. I think he murdered this entire verse. The hook is amazing. Considering he was potentially a producer.
Let's talk about the beat for a second.
The beat is amazing. It feels frantic. It feels aggressive.
100%.
You feel like there's something going down.
Chaotic. It's very angry. It's a song where if you want to go and fight somebody, this is the song you're going to listen to.
Yes.
It just gets you going.
And this is also the first time you hear Pac say, born a leader, never leave the block without my hitting 2 big pits to call them mob eaters. And you heard Pac use that line on a different track as well.
And then when he goes, thug life running through my veins. The way he screams that.
Ba, 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 let's get high and ride.
There's something that you just,
So if it's just Pac on the track, it gets 5. If it's just Pac on the track.
Okay.
Because this has always been one of those songs for me that always got me super amped. But when you...
so Pac alone can't write it. Can't hold it.
He can't write the shit by himself.
Fair enough.
Because EDI and Noble just take too much of the momentum away from me.
They water it down.
They water it down big time.
So what's
so it gets a 4. And that hurts my heart.
I give it a 5. But you know what? Saying that, I that's justifiable what you said. I think I have a biased kind of opinion because I just love this song so much.
Yeah, I love it too.
There's something about it that it's one of my favorite songs of all hip hop songs of all time, not just pop songs.
Yeah.
Like even to this day, I will. It's on my playlist. You know, every so often I throw it on. It's so good. So I give it a 5. 5 CDs out of 5.
Nobody's wrong in that situation, I don't think.
Nobody's wrong.
Yeah.
But I get it. I see what you're saying, and I've done that for a couple other songs. So I get what you mean.
Like this next one.
Okay, so this is so before we go to track number 2, track number 1, just so it's clear, this is my second favorite track of the album.
Okay.
For sure. Now we're gonna go to track number 2, which is my favorite track of the album, and one of my favorite songs of all time, regardless of hip hop or not.
Yep.
It's called Hail Mary, and Hail Mary. Can you kind of
for the fans
explain what that means?
So for the fans, we gotta do it at least once. We gotta do "Come with me, Hail Mary, run quick, see what do we have here now?
Do you
wanna ride or die? La da 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 da." You just have to do it.
You have to.
One of the greatest hooks of all time. Personally, one of my favorite Tupac songs of all time. Hail Mary has a couple connotations. One would be the football one. Time's running out. You got to make that long pass. You call that Hail Mary play. You launch. You hope you land.
It's funny. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and this
version of Hail Mary, but that's actually.
And this kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
And the other Hail Mary, because Pac is obviously very religious, very Christian, very Muslim.
Right.
Hail Mary in reference to the Virgin Mary, Mother of Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, Mother of Jesus.
Right.
So this also references that, and it's very poetic, but it's very dark.
It's extremely poetic.
Yeah.
And the beat is probably one of the best hip hop beats that you'll ever hear.
From somebody I've never heard before.
Hurt Me Bad is the producer.
One of the worst producer names ever. Hurt Me Bad.
So out of the 12 tracks, I'm gonna go back a little bit, but out of the 12 tracks, 80% of the album was produced by 3 producers, and none of them were notable at that time, and probably even after that, because I never heard of them, and I'm pretty good with production.
Yeah.
One was called Daryl Big D Harper. The other was Hurt Me Bad with 2 D's. That was a very 90s thing. Actually, no, sorry, just those two. Those two produced 80% of the album.
That's crazy.
So shout outs to these 2 individuals.
They crafted a good project.
I mean, yeah. And who knows? I mean, if Pac was alive, I'm sure they would have made some magic together. Again.
Considering where they're going, yeah.
Right. So I totally agree. A very cryptic track, a reflection song, self-reflection song in some sense. Flawless production. Outlaws are featured on the song, and they once again they butcher this. I mean, his flow is impeccable. Like Elite said, the way he rides a beat.
Yeah.
And then they come in, and it's just like it's so trash. It hurts me because I like the Outlaws. I like them as a group. I like what they've done. I'm not by any means, but I don't know what it is. I mean, I'd rather just listen to them on their own, as opposed to being a part of such impactful and meaningful songs.
Yeah.
The one thing I really like about this song, and it's kind of weird, and you I don't know if you know, I'm sure you've noticed it, but when the second verse hits, all of a sudden you hear an extra synthesizer in the background.
Oh yeah.
And that's so cool. I find that so interesting. It just adds that extra layer. Amazing song. This song, for you hip hop heads out there, if you've seen hip hop tour movies like Fade to Black, Jay-Z, the Chronic Up in Smoke tour, anytime they do a dedication on the big screen where they take a couple minutes out to give shout outs to hip hop artists that have passed and R&B artists, they usually do the usual suspects: Tupac, Big, Aaliyah, Big Pun, right? Yep. Anytime they do Tupac, they usually play Ambitions as a Rider and Hail Mary.
Yes.
And when they do Hail Mary, they put the mic out and like Lee did earlier, and everybody sings it in sequence, the chorus. It's that impactful.
And this song probably has one of the greatest opening lines of all time.
I ain't a killer.
But don't push me. You know?
It's so true.
Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy.
Right.
I would put it up there with some of the greatest, Inspector Deck intros.
I totally agree.
And the shit talk in the beginning, Makaveli in this, Killuminati through your body, with the impact of 12-gauge shotty. Oh my God. Feel me! And this is one of the first times I think he did that feel me part.
Right. And then he says flesh in my flesh. Because of biblical.
Yeah.
Right? Because DMX later on, really, he flesh on my flesh, blood, blood, blood.
Yeah.
But the first part of that is a biblical.
He says, and God said he should send his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways. And the way that he yells it, anybody listening to it, you just have to feel it.
Follow me.
That follow me.
Is he saying that in a sense where he thinks he's a prophet?
Yes. I definitely feel like he felt like this on this album.
And he can justify that.
I think so.
Because he was a modern day prophet.
I would say if he had ill intentions, he could have easily had a cult of some kind.
I totally agree.
He could have easily had legions. I mean, he has that.
He does.
Without asking for it.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think when you hear, back to him not being a lyricist. I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. Picture paragraphs unloaded, wise words being quoted. Peep the weakness in the rap game and sewed it. So there was really nobody else doing things like Pac did on this. And that's the first verse. Like, if you go to the second verse, when you talk about the things that he was talking about that mattered, penitentiary is packed with promise makers. Never realizing the precious time the bitch is wasted. Institutionalized, I live my life a product made to crumble. Much too hardened for a smile, way too crazy to be humble.
How is that not
phenomenal?
Great lyricism.
Well, it's
like,
not.
How do you?
It's not just the lyricism. He gives you a glimpse into his soul.
Yeah.
Not his mind. Like, he's taking you into his soul,
True.
into his spirit, into his feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the special ththings about Pac when he rapped. And that's one of the things that made women love him just as much as men loving him.
True.
Which is why he could balance and do super hyper misogynistic songs that women loved.
Right. He could get away with it.
Get away with it completely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's because he gave you an unfiltered look into who he was. And I think this encapsulates him almost perfectly. I think there's one song that does it better overall in Pac's catalog.
Yeah.
But this song encapsulates Pac's hypocrisy, his beauty, his everything that makes him a man.
It's true.
I think this song does it beautifully.
You're right. I mean, he's the type of artist that could do a How Do You Want It, which is super misogynistic. And he can do Brenda's Got a Baby, which is super feminist supporting, not
So-
only feminist, but
Activist.
taking care of our, not women, but
Yeah.
black women.
And then you go to
women
wonder
in
what I
the
call you, bitch,
Yeah,
and come back to Dear Mama.
right.
Right? He had that.
Yeah,
I think being in tune with your hypocrisy, because everyone's a hypocrite, right?
it's true.
Acting holier than thou is bullshit. Everyone's got their shit, and I think Pac lived that so heavy,
Yeah.
you couldn't help but love it. And even when he was violent and aggressive and talking shit to other rappers that had nothing to do with the beef, you
Yeah.
were on his side.
Yeah.
Like he must be right.
Right.
They must have did something shitty.
It's true. That's actually really interesting. That's a really interesting take. Why do you think he chose, or maybe he didn't, but I feel like this is his most deepest and darkest album, per se.
So dark.
Why do you think he chose this album? Like he literally goes from, because this is the second album on Death Row.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a new label for him. Although he was always affiliated with Death Row, right?
Yeah.
You go from All Eyes on Me, which is primarily a pretty upbeat album, and there are some songs like Trading War Stories and Life Goes On and stuff, but primarily it's not
It's a more fun album.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he goes left with this.
Oof,
I mean,
so dark.
there's like one or two songs that are kind of, but for the most part, the
Yeah.
dark is like the album's like a black cloud in a
Yeah.
good way. In a good way.
And it's so weird because there's other songs that he made during this era of Pac
Yeah.
that were like polar opposite.
Yeah.
Like Who Do You Believe In?
Yeah. That's a good one.
Changes.
Mhm. Are you still down?
Are You Still Down? There's another really big one that I'm missing out on too that had the same kind of uplifting, revolutionary vibe. But yeah, these songs were all made around the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that just captures his duality, right?
Yeah.
As an artist.
Yeah.
But I do want to shout out Gaddafi on this. Gaddafi is probably the better of the
R.I.P.
outlaw rappers. Another
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yep. His verse is dope. The bridge. If it's on, then it's on. We rate beat breaks, outlaws on the paper chase. Can you relate to the shit I don't got? Be the shit I gotta take. Dealing with fate. Hoping God to close the gate. That's dope.
You know what? I take that back. My earlier comment about the outlaw thing. That I do like
That part's dope. Yeah.
And I'm glad that you pointed out because that is well done, that is actually one of my favorite parts of the song.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that, but you're right. I do like that part.
And Noble's verse. Castro's verse.
I think they watered it down.
Yeah.
But
Didn't need it.
What do you rate it out of 5
Oh,
stars?
it's a 5. It's
Yeah,
5.
it's a
It's one of the greatest songs ever made.
Yeah.
And shout out to the dude in the very end, Prince Ital Joe, the guy who does the entry.
Is that's reggae, right? I want to
It's
say.
reggae. It's reggae.
Reggae.
Yep. Yep. He's definitely spitting in patois.
Yes, they didn't put his name, so I didn't know. So what was his name?
Prince Ital Joe.
Okay, good. To
Never have heard of him.
But he has a little bit of a touch to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Pac's talking and the dude's spitting in the background. It's a good little mix.
Yeah. Yep.
Great song.
Okay. On to track number 3. Toss It Up. Featuring R&B legends.
Yes.
Aaron Hall, Danny Boy, and Casey JoJo, on behalf of the legendary supergroup R&B group, Jodeci. So this song is basically No Diggity.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this and you don't know what No Diggity is, off this.
Shame on you.
You shouldn't even be watching.
Shame
this.
on you.
I don't care who you are, because No Diggity is relevant even now.
Yes.
People, young
Oh,
kids
it's
are
soup
listening
sampled
to No
all over the
Diggity,
place.
right? Yeah. So No Diggity was a song that the great R&B group Blackstreet. Were you a Blackstreet fan?
Yes. Massive.
Me too. So Teddy Riley, primary member, and
Dave Hollister was the lead
Hollister.
singer. Yep.
So they released a song, 96, and this is when Dre left Death Row. So this was Dre's first solo rap effort prior to the Aftermath album.
Yes.
Okay. So post Death Row, pre Aftermath, they and a lot of people thought No Diggity was produced by Dre, and it wasn't. It was produced by Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley.
But everybody just saw because he was on the album. Oh,
It
Dre
just makes
made another
sense.
bang.
Yeah.
He did it.
No.
But anyways, it's a dope song. No Diggity is just a club banger.
Yep.
And Dre's rap on it is good.
Decent.
It's
definitely
not bad,
serviceable.
right?
Yeah.
It's serviceable.
Yep.
There you go. And so, when Dre left Aftermath, when Dre left Death Row, prior to, so after All Eyes on Me, he was gone. creative differences. Pac took it really personally. Now, do you think he took it personally because Suge put a battery in his back and be like, let's just go after Dre?
1,000%.
Yeah, I feel that too because I don't see Tupac really hating on Dre.
Yeah, I also think that that time when Pac got out of jail, went right to the studio to record All Eyes on Me, Dre wasn't around Death Row then. He had already started to phase out. Right. So I feel like Pac kind of felt abandoned. Like, yo, you're supposed to be the guy to make my album. You're not here. Daz was there.
Right.
Album is still incredible.
Yeah.
But if you look at what California Love is, it's an anthem. It's a song that's going to live on forever. And we don't know what else Dre could have done with an artist like Pac. We'll never know. We'll never get that recipe. We'll never get that magic. We got that one song that is a great indication, but it's just amazing.
So there was a little bit of he felt like he was disloyal.
For sure.
He abandoned ship.
Yeah, I felt like Pac thought that he deserved a Dre album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't really think about it that way. I just thought that he, on the bigger scope of things, he was just mad because he jumped ship.
Yeah, I think there's some of that.
But you're right. I didn't really think about All Eyes on Me as more production from Dre.
For sure. Because that was the goal, right?
Yeah.
Was to pair Pac with Dre and then let Dre create this masterpiece.
It's true. I don't know. I just always felt that Suge could get Pac to do almost anything.
Yeah.
And Suge hated Dre when Dre left. Like, Suge was on his... So I felt like a lot of that rage was maybe...
channeled into Pac.
Because you had this guy around you all the time who's in your ear. Like, because I mean...
That's a big battery, yo.
Me and Elite, after Tupac passed away, we hated... a lot of these East Coast rappers for about a good year, maybe 2 years.
I would say so.
Before we kind of went back and said, okay, we gotta...
These guys are dope.
Yeah. Like, I bought that Mobb Deep Hell on Earth album, and I got in shit for it. Like, it was one of those ones where you gotta put under your... you put under your arm and you pretend like you didn't buy it, right? Like it was tough.
It's a great album.
He made you feel that.
Yeah, you took. I took sides, and I took Pac sides,
100%. 100%. So anyway, so basically, as almost I don't want to say spoof, but in kind of in direct competition, they were like, Pac was like, okay, we're gonna do our version of No Diggity, and specifically because Dre was featured on the song, we're gonna do our versions, and we're gonna do it better. Mm-hmm. So he assembled a R&B, almost like a transformer constructed bot. We all come into one. I wasn't an Aaron Hall fan then, and not now. Mm-hmm. He was part of a group called Guy with Teddy Riley.
Yep.
Were you an Aaron Hall fan?
No, never. Okay, no. He had one good song called I Miss You.
Okay, see, I didn't even know that.
That's it.
But he was kind of like an R. Kelly knockoff.
Big time.
Guy had a song called I Like It. That was kind of...
Yeah. Big hit.
But that was Guy, right?
Yep.
And Danny Boy and Casey and JoJo. No, that's...
Huge.
Yeah. Huge. This song... is the production, they did it so well that they mimicked it to the T, but just enough so they wouldn't get sued. Because it sounds almost the same.
Yeah.
Purposely, of course. Sure. There's a video for it.
Cool video.
Very cool.
Yeah. Very cool video.
Baseball. This is all over the map. It's got a garbage fire. It's got like chains. It's right out there. But you know what? The song for me is just as good as No Diggity.
It's a banger.
For me.
It's a banger.
Now, I know some people be like, nah, man, No Diggity's the original. And I get it. I'm going to say it's just as good.
I think it's better. I think No Diggity's got a little bit of fluff to it that Toss It Up does not have.
Fluff. I like that.
And the Toss It Up...
the fluff you mean by the rapping?
The pop. The pop.
Because it's Dre versus pop.
Yeah, there's no competition there, right?
Right.
But I feel like this song feels and sounds like what peak Death Row could have been.
Yeah.
Big bangers, crazy party tracks,
right.
Pac riding the beat like a monster. And normally you come with the interesting facts. I have one for this.
Please.
Demetrius Shipp, listed as one of the producers on the album. On the song.
I saw Demetrius, and I didn't see the last name.
Which is interesting because Demetrius Shipp's son plays Pac in the Pac movie.
Okay,
that came out afterwards.
So that's his dad.
That's his dad. Very random.
Because I was going to say he would have been too... Wow.
Yeah, so that's a really weird one.
That's dope.
I didn't like the movie. I didn't like
pulls one out,
Demetrius
man.
Shipp playing
You
Pac.
stumped me.
Yeah.
Stump the
I'll come
Riz.
with one of
Stump
them.
the Riz.
I'll come with some of them every now and then. That'd be like the first.
Uncut gem.
Yeah. But did you like that Pac movie?
I did not.
It's tough. It's
I did
hard
not-
to play
I
Pac.
felt like it was very forced, and it missed. Listen, any biop is not going to be perfect
Right.
because they're always going to miss facts.
Yes.
Or they're not going to put certain things in because they don't want people to know the bad things
Yes.
about the artist, and that's we know that.
Yeah.
A true movie will show the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
A lot of movies won't do that. But even saying that, there's a lot of great musical biops, right?
Big time.
Ray,
Straight Outta
Walk the
Compton.
Line, Straight Outta Compton. I mean, there's some really good ones. Selena. That one didn't hold up for me because it showed a small portion of his entire.
And you
life.
can't. It's really hard to capture Pac's essence as an actor. He's just too big for the screen.
I think visually, Demetrius looked like Pac. Acting wise, he's not. There.
No, I think there's enough footage of Pac as is to really make a movie just through archival footage.
100%.
And you could create something really cool with just archival footage.
And I would literally tie it to Tupac.
Easy.
Like literally just
yeah.
that.
You don't need anything else.
Who would you put in a movie if you had a choice? Right now, like if you were to cast the movie, who would be someone or some ones that you would think could justify it?
I think if you're looking at skills, I would look at someone like Lakeith Stanfield. I think Lakeith could be Pac
From Atlanta?
in a really unique way. He's got similar face, and his acting is fucking incredible.
It
It's
is
one of the
incredible.
best.
Yeah.
I think outside of there's really not anybody else I can think of off the top of my head that could really capture Pac,
Right.
because you wouldn't get somebody established to play Pac.
Like a Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, nah, I don't know. I don't think that works.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anthony Mackie?
nah. I think he tried. He did Pac.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it in...
I think it was Straight Outta Compton. He did the cameo.
I was going to say the Biggie movie, but you're right.
Oh, maybe it was a Biggie movie.
I don't know, maybe...
It was one of them. I know.
Yeah,
Anthony
I
Mackie.
think Demetrius also did the Biggie movie. I think he did Straight Outta Compton.
Right. Yeah. I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think you could use someone like that. It's got to be
Right.
someone that's a little like a lesser known actor. I mean,
Lakeith would actually,
Lakeith
that'd
is
be a
great.
very nice angle.
I think it would be.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you could, because you need an actor. You need someone to go
You definitely
in,
need an actor.
right?
You definitely need an actor.
It can't just be someone that's just off of their celebrity
Agreed.
that they
Agreed.
play him.
Yeah.
But the song's amazing, man. I think obviously he's having fun. This is not like the super lyrical, but even the disses are pretty damn fun.
Any kind of lines that you would have... I remember a couple.
So the first verse is just all sexual.
Yeah.
Really dope. Very few rappers can rap like that.
Similar to like a How Do You Want It, right?
Big time,
Yeah.
big time. And like, some of the stuff that Pac says, there's no expletives, right?
No.
Like tongue, kiss a hand full of hair, look at my eye, tell them to make the bed rock, baby, look how it rocks. These are all like, even the me and you moving in the nude, doing living room. There's no swear words.
It's true.
There's
I
no
didn't think about
genitalia talk. It's all very innuendo, tongue in cheek. So this highlights Pac's skill level.
Right. Playful song, right?
Super
Flirty
playful.
song, yeah.
He literally talks about sex.
Yes.
But he says, "Kiss you soft on your stomach, push my love inside."
Yeah.
Like this, if this is one of the better indicators of Pac's skill as a writer,
Right.
because he was obviously told you can't swear, you can't talk about no genitalia talk.
Right. You can't go overly...
You can't. It's got to be radio friendly. And Pac goes, "All right, I'm gonna say the dirtiest, raunchiest shit you can imagine."
Without saying it.
Without saying any of that shit.
Right.
So
And that's a skill within itself.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing skill.
Right.
And then Danny Boy Jojo. I don't really like Danny Boy. He's a little whiny for me. Sounds great on the song.
In my opinion, I could have done without Aaron Hall and Danny Boy. If I just had Casey and JoJo on it, it would have been fine for me.
Yeah.
But, I could be wrong.
I think Aaron Hall may have been more of like an opportunity collab. Like they're probably like, "Hey Pac, you can get Aaron Hall on this track." It's like, "Yo, Aaron Hall,
Like a
legend,
combo deal?
like a legend track, right?"
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
Casey is amazing on the song.
Yeah.
And
JoJo too.
yeah, JoJo always sounds great.
Yeah, but Casey, he always takes it to that.
He just goes so far.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything. Like when he comes to it's
Yeah.
Casey, baby. I want you, lady. It's just so
Casey,
dirty.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And you feel dirty when you hear
do
it.
feel dirty. You do feel dirty. It's true.
But afterwards, when he comes for Dre, it's pretty harsh.
Any lyrics that you want to highlight that really hurts, that really kind of
oh yeah, man.
pierces
He
the
questions
heart?
Dre's sexuality. Still down for the death row sound, searching for payday, no longer Dre Day, Arriva Dirche. Blown and forgotten, rotten for plotting child's play. Check your sexuality, as fruity as this Alizé. Quick to jump ship, punk trick, what a dumb move. Cross death row, now who you gonna run to? Dude, he comes for his throat. And that's not even the worst stuff he says.
And I mean, and that's already
It's pretty bad.
And it's funny because Eazy-E did the questioning too about his sexuality with the whole album cover from his disco days, right?
World Class Wrecking Crew.
But yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Got a lot of that. It's weird, right?
Yeah, I think there's.
Is there something we don't know?
I
I don't want to say that. Dre's one of my favorite kind of.
Yeah,
producers.
I feel like there's a lot we don't know, man.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot from that 90s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s era.
I think this Diddy case.
Yes.
Side note.
Yes.
But it's kind of opening up our eyes and
Yeah.
he's not the only one. Like, yeah, he's the major player, but there's other people that were in the background, and they're just as guilty.
Yeah, and if they weren't guilty, they were passerbyers.
Right.
And maybe dipped their foot in a little bit.
Right. Yeah, they went to the kiddie pool. They didn't go to the 10-foot pool, but they were there.
Yeah, they had a curfew.
They were in the hot tub. They were in the hot tub.
And they had a curfew. Yeah.
Nice.
Once the baby oil came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing I didn't notice is the Lil' Kim hate on it.
Yeah, and you're right. Good mention. And I think that was just to get at Big, right?
Big time.
Because Kim was close to Big.
Yes.
And Pop and Kim they were cool.
Yeah.
Before Kim said it, like before Hit 'Em Up, we were cool. And she goes, I see myself in the video, and she goes, I lost it. Well, of course. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, Lil' Kim. I mean, that's just. I'm gonna go not only after you. I'm going after your whole crew.
He called her a fat bitch.
Yeah. And I love Lil' Kim.
Love Lil' Kim too.
That you know that her. You know that her. You know that her, man.
And he came at Puff. He goes, "You are still in touch with all that peace talk. I'll give you kiss my ass from here to across the street." And the thing is, like, you hear Pac say this stuff, and like, he's not saying the most damaging through your heart stuff, but the way he says it, he minimizes your existence so much that it's just as bad as saying something really horrible to you. Because when Pac, it's so funny. We listen to Drink Champs.
Yep.
Shout out to EFN and Nori Drink Champs. And Nori said, I've heard Nori say it multiple times, that he was offended that he didn't get called up by Pac.
You're right.
Which is crazy because he was one of the first rappers on LA.
And that's why he was really offended.
Yeah, he's like, I tried to diss you too.
There's two things Nori always talks about. That and the fact that he lost the Source Awards to Silk the Shocker. Yeah. Like, he never can. Every second interview, he's like, I lost the Silk the Shocker. Can you believe that? How is that possible?
He's called out Benzino. He's called out David Mays.
That's the people put all those ads in that magazine. That's why I lost. But you're right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But Nori, sorry, you were the man.
It was a badge of honor almost to get Pac to take a shot at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Which is wild.
But it's funny because that's so interesting you say that, because he doesn't do that. He doesn't go at Nori, but then he goes after Chino XL.
Yeah.
Who is less known than Nori.
So Chino, and the funny thing is, I've never heard the diss track from Chino.
I haven't.
But Chino must have said some harsh shit.
Yeah. Well, apparently he
said
said shit about like him getting raped
in jail.
Like
Yes.
he really.
Yes.
Yeah. And from what I know, Chino XL was a lyricist.
Super lyricist, battle rapper. Yeah. Also was in prison for multiple years. Right. I mean, this rumors kind of circulated through the streets for years about Pac being violated in prison.
Right.
But at the same time, there's other people that were in prison with Pac and things like that would never happen. People love Pac. They would never never hurt him or come close to him or like that. Right. So it's tough to say. We'll never know because they're both gone.
Yeah.
That truth will never be validated.
Exactly.
But
and that's something that you can just easily say because the person's in jail, right?
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I blame it on Puff.
Yeah. Okay. What do you rate it?
That's a 5.
It's a 5.
It's a 5 for me. It's way too fun. Again, I think it would be peak Death Row if Death Row ended up being what it was supposed to be. But
now let me ask you this before we move on to track 4. I never understood, and maybe you can break it down because you're the lyrical genius from the two of us. Toss it up. What is that?
Ooh.
What does that mean?
So
I don't know. I still don't know.
Two connotations.
I've never heard that term, toss it up, in hip hop.
Yeah, 2 connotations. The first one would be getting ready to fight. Toss it up because
like tussle.
Like now it's ready. Now we're ready to go. Toss it up. We're gonna fight.
Okay.
Like now we're gonna throw hands.
Okay.
So
that would make sense because it's a diss track.
He's coming at Dre.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just him coming into that time of having the Versace and all that other stuff and throwing up the stacks.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's a little bit of that as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's the fight. I think it's the fight talk.
Toss it up. Yeah. Okay. Now, would you consider this a diss track per se?
It shouldn't be.
Or is it a party? Because I think of it as a kind of a party song.
Straight up party song.
But
there's no reason for that.
Would you consider this a diss track?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason for that second verse.
Diss track?
Yeah, because the first verse he's romancing somebody.
Right.
No ill lyrics anywhere.
Yeah.
And then the hook, which is great. They go back and forth, all the singing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he just decides to pull out his gun.
That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
It was wild.
Track number 4. Titled To Live and Die in L.A., which unfortunately he didn't do. Do you think that that's something that he wanted to do?
Yeah,
Or
I feel like he
just
fell
kind of
in.
a title?
I feel like he fell in love with LA.
He did, right?
Yeah, big
That
time.
West Coast love was something different.
It just captured him.
Right.
Yeah.
Featuring Val Young, who is a female R&B singer, I'm assuming, because she does the hook. She does a pretty good job. She's kind of got a unique voice, right? It's not great. It's not horrible. Now, this is a song that was produced by QD3. And you can tell because it's not a hip-hop beat to the fullest.
No, it's not.
It has a little bit of a Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Like a more of
there's a little bit of pop in it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
For me, it's got the classic Cali kind of vibe.
Very West Coast.
Very West Coast. It's kind of a chill summer song, like you play. I don't know, like at a summer party or a barbecue, or it's just one of those kind of chill songs. This is Dre at the end, just very slightly, but he does. So this song, I have one fun fact, where originally when they produced the song, it used digital instruments for the guitar and the drums. Pac said, take out the digital stuff and play an actual drum and actual guitar, live guitar and live drums. So they switched it out for that, and Pac specifically said he wanted that.
It's good.
And that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think it's a great song. Lyrically, I didn't even really get into the lyrics because it's just a solid song. For me, I give it a 5 out of 5, just because it's just a well done song.
Unpopular opinion. I've had this conversation with other Pac fans. This is the.
Oh wow!
This is the airball.
That's the airball.
This is the airball. I never connected this with the song.
Yeah.
Never connected with the beat. Can't stand the singing. The singing sounds awful. Her voice is not good. Lyrically, I mean, obviously Pac. I feel like Pac always does this thing.
Yeah.
But it's mid.
Okay.
Like he doesn't really say much on this. I feel like the shout outs at the end where he's talking about Snoop and stuff, I feel that feels really forced.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like that was real. What does he say about Snoop Dogg?
Yeah, he does say something about Snoop, right?
Yeah. We that shermed out Snoop Dogg and the mother permed out MOB Big Suge and the low bounce turn dog pound Lex with the ounce burn. All that feels forced. Like none of that feels like he's doing those things. Like when he shouts out on other tracks, he talks about SIBO and talks about all just people. I feel all that. Like that's real.
Right.
That feels like those are people those are his friends. Is really rolls with. This all just felt like I gotta shout at everybody on the label somehow.
So it's like a death row PR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was gonna be a big hit, obviously, because it's Pac.
Yeah.
The title is great, To Live and Die in LA. The video is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because they showed Pac having fun.
Just didn't connect to it.
Yeah. The video is cool because I like videos where it shows Pac having fun.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see that a lot.
Definitely having fun.
Because he's very serious a lot.
Yeah. He's got some fly girls in the car. I think it's like a lowrider.
Yeah. Beautiful lowrider. He's sitting in the back, just wilding.
Cool. Yeah.
So I like all that stuff. Just because it's Pac alone,
it
can't get lower than 3.
Okay.
This is 3 for me.
Okay. That's interesting. I thought you would have given that a higher, but I get it. All right. Track 5. Blasphemy. Is blasphemy one of the 7 deadly sins? No, right?
No.
But it is somewhat biblical, no?
Big time.
Yeah. Like, I don't know the connotation behind it, but I know there is some relation.
Blasphemy is
maybe
essentially
you can-
anything that goes against God. So
Right,
if you
okay.
diss Christ, if you diss Prophet Muhammad, if
Right.
you diss any of these religious figures, that's all blasphemy.
But the word blasphemy, has it been used in the Bible?
Yes.
It
they
has,
they
right?
called people blasphemers.
Okay, so there
Yeah.
you go. This album is very, very scripture friendly.
Heavy. Yeah.
Why? Do you think Pac was? It almost feels like he read the Bible.
I bet you.
He didn't just read it.
Yeah.
He really read it.
I bet you he read the Bible.
And I'm sure he read the Quran.
I bet you he read the Quran as well.
Yeah.
I feel like he is a well-read person. You
Yeah.
can tell by his vocabulary, and the way he approaches music. It's weird because he talks about being Muslim.
Yeah.
Previous
There was
when he
a
was
little bit
younger.
of that, yeah.
He came up in an environment full of Muslims
Yeah.
because a lot of the Panthers were Muslim.
True.
But somewhere along the lines, he adopted Christianity with a real seriousness.
Right.
And I don't know why. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that influence is. But he was very vocal about being a Christian.
Yeah, I mean,
and
like you said, he had big thug
Big-
life. The cross. I mean, that's his
the
symbol.
only God can judge me.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I feel like he's obviously a religious person.
Yes.
Um,
And you see a lot of that in this album.
big
From
time.
Every other album.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was definitely going that way.
For me, I got a lot of. For a lot of people who don't know, Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, who actually I'm just watching now in the show called Godfather Parlor. They actually bring her in the show. Not her per se, but her character.
That's cool.
She was one of the original like revolutionary members of the Black.
Mm-hmm.
I think she might have even been one of the founding members. I don't know. The show is kind of.
Yeah, she is one of the founding members.
I think she was.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I think it was Huey Newton and someone else, right? Initially, but she was like, from what I'm seeing in the show, she was kind of.
Yeah, she was there when it was being
the
built.
first. She was part of the first sect of that.
Yep.
So the song for me is a lot of Black Panther influence of some of the things he says.
Mhm.
That revolutionary kind of music
Big
spirit. There's a little bit of reggae on the chorus.
Again, by the
Is
same
that the
dude.
same guy?
Same
Yeah,
dude.
okay.
Yeah.
The beat.
Prince Ital Joe.
The beat is very. It's not dark. It's kind of reflective. I want to say maybe that's the best way to do it. Like it's,
Good call.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Not folky, but there's something to it. For me, it's a solid song. It's got it's a great. There's a lot of takeaways you're gonna get from this
Big
song
time.
if you listen to it carefully.
Big time.
It's not a song that I would play regularly, but it's one of those songs where you do need to listen to
Absolutely.
once in a while to just understand. Because a lot of the stuff he's talking about is happening now,
Yeah.
or kind of it's kind of repeating itself.
Yeah,
So-
no, you made a great point on the understanding part. I mean, I think if you want to understand Pac as an artist,
Yeah.
this is a song you have to listen to.
Right.
Because he's speaks to things that he's obviously really passionate about. Opening line, my family tree consists of drug dealers, thugs, and killers, struggling, known to hustle, screaming, fuck, the villains. So he comes in super hard.
Yeah.
He talks about the 10 rules in his
Right.
game. And it's so smart. The writing is so smart. There's 10 rules to the game, but I'll share with you 2. And then that first one is rule 1, get your cash on MOB. That's money with bitches because they breed envy. Rule 2 is a hard one. Watch for phonies. Keep
Right.
your enemies close. Watch your homies. It seemed a little unimportant when he told me I smiled. Picture jewels being handed to an innocent child. Like these kind of bars are legacy bars. Because you don't really have people that rap that give you insight into the people giving them gems.
Right.
I feel like Scarface does this really well, where he kind of paints pictures about how he became the person that he is.
You're right.
And I feel like Pac does this
Cube-
probably better than
Cube does
anybody
it a
else.
little bit.
Yeah, Cube
Yeah.
does it.
You're right.
I feel like Pac does it better than anybody else. He talks about exactly the things that make him who he is.
M does that.
M is M is his entire life on the page. But there's a verse in this here. The third verse. The preacher want me buried, why? Because I know he a liar. Have you ever seen a crackhead? That's eternal fire. While you got these kids' minds thinking that the evil, while the preacher being freaky, you say honor God's people. Crazy.
How is that not there?
It's unreal.
How is he not
Yeah.
Like, how do you not see him as a lyricist?
And and he makes you look at things in a way that are really exposing.
Yeah.
And essentially, if you are from these communities, you start to look at the people around you as fraudulent because you can't escape what he's saying. It's all, unfortunately, it's all a great retelling of people's behavior in society.
It's true.
And he mentions Jesus a couple times in this. They say Jesus is a kind man. Well, he should understand times in this crime land. My thug nation, do what you got to do, but no, you got to change. Try to find a way to make it up the game. It's crazy, heavy.
It is
very heavy.
It is. Do you think if he didn't have that influence from his mom, like if his mom wasn't a Black Panther, or in his family, like kind of lineage, his music would be very different?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even know if he would have done music. Maybe he just would have been an actor, and not have had that passion. Because I think the passion is what makes him a rapper.
Good point.
I think that's what powers his raps. So
do you think he was trying to kind of carry on that Black Panther spirit?
Yeah. Like, there's a great.
They don't exist anymore, but I'm going to continue that movement with my music.
Yeah. So there was a moment where they were trying to start a new Panther party.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Pac was invited as a guest speaker, and he came. He had the bandana on, and he came. It was outdoors, and it would have been impossible unless he was the leader, because he's giving the speech and he's in front of all of these people, and he's calling them out, systematically calling them out. Why aren't you doing this? We need to do it. Why aren't you? There was a lot of this. Let's mobilize and work now.
Right.
Whereas they're coming from organizing perspective. Well, it doesn't work like that.
No.
We need these things in place. We need the infrastructure in place. And Pac's like, we have all these people plus me. Let's move.
Right.
And it didn't work like that. So Pac would have needed somebody to guide that passion. He would have needed a Minister Farrakhan, who also features on this album.
Yes.
He would have needed someone like that to take him, like grab him and be like, this is how we move.
Right.
But because Pac was on the ground floor and seeing that we're not doing anything, let's just do something.
Very passionate about it.
Yeah, and I think that's why it didn't work at that time. There is a new Panther Party now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a new Panther Party now.
It's
It's led by Quanel X, who used to be a part of the Nation of Islam and the Food of Islam. So they do have a little bit of power. They're armed. They have a militia. They have a militia. They're pretty serious.
Do they dress up with the berets?
They dress up with the berets so the leadership wears the suits like the Nation does.
Yeah.
But they come with the berets and the black leathers and all that stuff.
It's a combination.
It's a combination.
That's a deadly combination.
And it's their. I mean, have you ever listened to Quanel X? He's a brilliant speaker.
No, I gotta look into
But Pac's cut from this cloth.
He is.
Right? He's cut from this cloth. This passion, this fire, this energy.
Yeah.
I just feel like he didn't have what he needed to do the things that he wanted to do in the world.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in conclusion, how many CDs do you rate this out of 5?
Lyrically, it's a banger. Musically, it's mid. It's a 4 for me.
I gave it a 4 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, track number 6. So we're halfway done. Song is titled "Life of an Outlaw," featuring, of course, the Outlaws. The music. So I don't know if you noticed, but the music throughout this song was featured in the beginning of Bomb First.
Oh yeah. Oh, good call. Yeah.
So we actually get this preview in the beginning, which is interesting. Don't know why they did that, but yeah. For me, it's a very angry young black man song, right? Which is needed then and now. Once again, the Outlaws water it down. They just water the shit out of it down, man. Production, it's okay. Yeah. The hook is kind of cool. Production's not bad.
Yeah, I like the hook.
I give it 3.5 out of 5. Your take.
Yeah, I really like the hook. It's one of those hooks that stays with you. In life we live as thugs.
And it's got that funk guitar.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, I thought it was a singer doing it, some uncredited person, but they credit the Outlaws on the hook.
See, I thought that was a singer too. So that's one of the members of the Outlaws?
They're saying it's probably all the Outlaws.
Okay,
yeah.
That could be. Oh, that's impressive.
Great harmony on the hook. I really enjoyed it. The beat's okay. Again, Outlaws watered down, but this second verse from Pac Code 3, attack formation. Pull out your pistols, keep an eye out for the devils because they're itching to get you. Merciless, madman, screaming kamikaze in tongue. Automatic gunfire, making all my enemies run. Bars. Yeah. Layers upon layers upon layers of intricate rhymes.
Yep.
Some really great writing all throughout for Pac. Okay, Noble has an opening line. City under siege. It's like I can't even breathe. I'm from the state of car thieves. GED from the streets. And Noble's from Jersey.
Yeah, Noble's from Jersey.
And Jersey, Jersey was a car theft capital of the world at the time. Idi Amin's kind of mid on it.
It's weird because all the outlaws are from the East Coast.
Yeah.
They're all from the East Coast. So it's interesting.
And I don't think Fatal's on this.
Fatal saying shout out R.I.P.
Yeah,
R.I.P. I think I was the only one that actually bought his solo album, which wasn't great. It was one.
He was the only one. Napoleon does his thing on this.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean
Napoleon, who's now Muta.
Oh yes. I think that's his Muslim name.
Yeah.
So the song is good. Pac is good on it. You gave it a 3.5.
That's exactly what I gave it.
Yeah.
3.5.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
I would give it a 3.5 as well.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page. Track number 8, titled "Crazy," featuring West Coast rapper Badass.
Yeah.
So, some of you are really into West Coast rap and Snoop and that whole thing. You know Badass. He passed away actually.
He did. Yeah. Unfortunately.
For me, it was kind of a get high and fly song. You sit back, roll a blunt, like my boy here does.
Just got to.
Or smoke anything, or drink, and you're just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
You just throw it on. Very chill. I give it a 3.5. It's not horrible, and it's not great, but it's not bad. It does what it needs to do for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But
nothing.
I like Badass on this. Badass told a story on a podcast about this song coming to life and how he was there. And Pac throughout the challenge, whoever gets their verse done gets on the track. Badass was the only one to get their verses done. All the other outlaws couldn't. Thank goodness. Couldn't get their verses done in time. I really enjoy the song.
Oh wow! Is it because you like the blunts?
It's funny. Back then I didn't smoke.
Did you like it back then too?
I loved it back then.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah,
well,
and it's the hook. The time goes by, fucking on love, hoping that it gets me high. Got it going crazy.
Right.
That feels really good.
That's true. It does have a strong.
The hooks really feel good. Badass has a good verse. I don't think it's great, but Badass can rap. Badass is known as a rapper.
Yeah, no, definitely. He held his own.
I would give it this is a 4 for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Track number 9, titled "White Man's World." Man's with a Z. For me, heavy Black Panther influence from his mom and his growing up. Production was very weak for me. Not great.
Yeah.
Message was great.
Yeah.
Messages in the song was strong.
This is one of those I feel like they match the beat up afterwards.
But I'll say something because, I followed this man's career, the great Elite, and I feel like there's some parts in this where his rapping reminds me of your early rapping, the flow.
Yeah, I would say Pac is one of my biggest inspirations, and
I don't know why this song specifically, because it does sometimes read double times.
Yeah.
And he kind of. Right?
Yeah, he's got pockets of double time.
I could be wrong, but that's what I got.
So, okay, and I think it's interesting how you said that because I tried to ride the beat with one cadence all the way through.
Right.
And I think in this song, he does it really well. The dear sister got me twisted,
right.
Crying, looking at my nieces and my nephew's picture. And that cadence is kind of carried out. And Pac normally doesn't do that.
No.
Because his cadence is all over the place.
It up.
Yeah. So I think that's something that's really, really solid on the song.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the dude that produced it,
Daryl Big D Harper,
also sang that hook.
Oh wow! Okay, Interesting. I didn't know that.
But the interesting part is about this song is the intro.
Yes.
That you go busting your fist against a stone wall. You're not using your brain. Powerful stuff. I feel like this is some of Pac's better work as far as themes go, and like creating a real vision of a song.
Right.
It's all Pac all the way throughout, which I fucking love, and I wish there was more. It was great to hear that Khalid Abdul Muhammad, who is like the second in charge of the nation, at the end of the song.
Yeah.
I also think there's Farrakhan at the end of the song. Let me just make sure here.
Oh, so that is Khalid Muhammad. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. There's Louis Farrakhan as well. It's like you're out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
You smoke-filled rooms.
His voice is.
Yeah, unmistakable voice. I think Pac does some of his best work on this lyrically.
Oh wow. It is. It's very well.
Yeah, so being born with less I must confess, only adds on to the stress. 2 gunshots to my homie's head, died in his vest, shot him to death and left him bleeding for his family to see. I passed his casket, gently asking, is there heaven for G? Like some of those Pac colloquialisms that people know Pac for are on this, and it feels really good. I want to give it a 5, but the beat is trash.
It's funny because you just quoted heaven for a G, where he said it. He said that in a quote. And it's funny because after his passing, Richie Rich had a song, "Do G's Go to Heaven?" Master P had a song called "Is There Heaven for a Gangster?"
Yep.
Pac was so influential to so many rappers in so many different ways, and his passing, in a way, kind of opened doors for rappers to become a lot bigger than they probably would have if he was around.
And be vulnerable.
That's just the honest truth.
Yeah.
Nothing against these rappers.
Yeah,
but people like Master P and Jay, and they might have not been that big.
Nas even.
Nas, you're right.
Pac was coming for their throats. And
true.
he had built a kind of fan base that was beyond dedicated.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they rode with Pac through and through.
Right.
And I think this song, like some of the stuff that he says in the song, like they're proud to be black, but while we act like we don't love ourselves, don't look around, but to check yourself. Like some of the stuff is really, really insightful. I really like the hook. The singing is not great, but the lyrics on the hook are really good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I want to give it a better. Honestly, I want to give it a 5 just because of how it makes me feel.
Well, you should.
But I can't. The nuances of the music making is just not good enough.
The production is horrible. It's not up to par.
It makes the song fall off.
Yeah.
That one gets a 4 for me.
Okay. I give it a 3 out of 5. But yeah. Track number 10. My third favorite song of the album, titled "Me and My Girlfriend." Now, this song is a classic.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Couple of fun facts. So when Pac was writing for the song, his biggest inspiration, quote, was he was listening to Nas's "I Give You Power." I don't recall that song, so I heard it yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It's not one of my favorite Nas songs, but I get it. So that's interesting how he listened to Nas's album on the day of his death, and then he drew inspiration. So
he was obviously a fan.
So he obviously liked it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sometimes your biggest enemy is your greatest competition.
Great line.
Right? Or something like that. Right?
If that wasn't the line, that's still a great line.
Thank you. I think I might have just made that quote.
It's pretty dope.
Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm sure you all know who they are, remade this beat and basically the song, in a sense. They titled it 03, so 2003, Bonnie and Clyde. It was off of Beyonce's album. I forget which album.
Trash. The song is trash.
Did you not like the remake?
Hated it.
Did you hate it because it was Tupac? If it was any other artist that had made Me and My Girlfriend and they had sampled it, would you have felt the same way?
I hated it for both reasons. Because Pac did not fuck with Jay-Z.
True.
And there was never any reconciliation. And because the song itself is not very good.
You didn't like the Beyonce part of it?
Beyonce's part was dope.
Okay.
Her singing was amazing.
So why not look at it through the lens of Beyonce wanted the sample and take Jay-Z right out?
Yeah, so I think...
Jay-Z's just guilty by association because he's her boyfriend.
So that's the one that starts off, Young B, cruising down the west side. Wait, I feel like because he kind of jacked Pac's flow a little bit, it made it more frustrating to listen to.
But at the same time, you're a Jay-Z fan.
At that time, I was. By that time, I was a big Jay-Z fan.
But even being a fan, you didn't like it.
Didn't fuck with it.
But you like Beyonce's take on it?
She sounded great.
Yeah.
Because Beyonce is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me charge this. You keep going on the song.
So anyway, so if you've heard 03 Bonnie and Clyde on Beyonce's album, I believe it's her second album. It's the same beat, exact same beat, and It's the chorus is the same too, if I'm correct. They say me and my girlfriend. And at the time, Jay-Z and Beyonce were boyfriend and girlfriend, so it kind of resonated there. But going back to the original song, the original track, when you listen to it, you think he's talking about his girlfriend or a female acquaintance. And that's what I thought for the longest time. And then one day your mind gets going and you realize he's actually talking about his relationship to a gun. Or to guns. And not in a negative way, just his relationship to...
He loved guns.
Yeah.
He was a gun owner forever. Legal gun owner.
But he wasn't one of these guys that you see nowadays throwing their gats. That wasn't him. He had it for a reason.
He always had a vest.
Yep.
Always had a gun.
Yep. He shot at an undercover cop, but he got acquitted because he was self-defense.
And he represented himself. That's some gangster shit right there.
Great vision. The way he's so good that you don't realize he's talking about a gun. That's how of an amazing lyricist he is.
Yeah.
That he paints you a picture, you really think he's talking about a girl.
For me,
until you really go, oh wait, 45 when we write.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
And the whole thing, fucking you, that shit.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
flawless production.
And the girl whoever the woman is on it.
I don't know.
I
don't know. She sounded like Lady Array. I know it's not.
Yeah.
But doesn't she kind of, when she's screaming, doesn't she have that Lady Array?
She's quoted on Genius as Virginia Slim.
Oh, okay. Never heard of her.
Motherfucker, I'm the bitch that's keeping laughing.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, she goes hard. What?
Hook is amazing.
Yes.
So much fun. The song is fun. It's super dark, but the lyrics are amazing. I think Pac does some really, really great stuff with... I feel like he does it a lot on this album. He uses alliteration a lot on this album.
He does.
Where he puts multiple consonants back to back to back to back to back. I think it's really cool style of writing. I try to use that as well. It's a great writing device.
Musically, it's great.
Musically, it's amazing.
Once again, guitar, funk guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You notice a lot of guitar there.
Yeah. So I feel like he was getting way more musical. And then come on, man. All I need in this life is sin. Me and my girlfriend.
And the way they do a fade.
Yes.
In and out of that part.
They put some kind of modulation on his voice.
They fade it in and they fade it out.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And how many people have jacked that melody over the years? So many rappers. So many rappers owe Pac so damn much.
True.
But the all I need is life is in, me and my girlfriend, down the ride to the bloody end, just me and my girlfriend. It's so
It's a well executed.
It's so
song.
Pac.
It's a well executed.
Yeah.
I give it a 5.
It's a 5 for sure.
Okay, 2 tracks left. We're coming down to the end here. Track number 11 titled "Hold Ya Head," featuring the producer. Heard me bad. I could have done without this track
Completely.
Now this is a airball in every aspect of the word.
Yeah.
It's a filler track. The production's weak as hell. Because it's Tupac, I gave it a 2.5. If it was Chino XL, I would have given it a 0. I know I would have given it a negative 2.5.
So I agree with a lot of what you said. The annoying thing for me is the message is so heavy.
Elaborate, because I think I kind of was so blinded by how much I disliked the music that I didn't give it a fair shake.
So in the beginning, with Yo Jackson, they go through talking about the penitentiaries. He mentions Mumia, Mutulu, Geronimo, Sekou, political prisoners in San Quentin. Pac was obviously, notoriously in prison a couple of times. And, the beat I'm not a fan of. Musically, it's not great. Pac's lyrics are crazy. I wake up early in the morning, my states were military. Suckers fantasize the pictures of young brother Barry was me. The beat, it's life I lead. The daytime is for suckers that tonight we be. Says some amazing stuff in this. The cadences are dope. Man, it's so hard giving Pac songs such terrible numbers.
And this is why we're both here, because we see lyricism, music, and then a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So this is why this is kind of
this is a
clash of things.
This is a 3 for me.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair.
I wish they didn't make that song.
And we're down to the final track.
This is
track number 12.
This is a weird one.
again titled "Against All Odds."
Yeah.
Now, this is a diss song through and through. Now, when I originally listened to the song, I didn't really think of it like that because I just thought, okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think I almost probably didn't even listen to it much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this time I listened, I was like, oh, it's pretty good. It's solid. It's a solid effort. He goes after Nas.
Yeah.
He goes after Dr. Dre, Mobb Deep, Diddy, Cool G Rap, De La Soul. I mean, the sweethearts of hip hop. And Tupac's dissing. I mean, who disses De La Soul?
Hey. Well, Pac thought that they dissed him on a track.
Right. But I think he thought that about a lot of people.
Yeah,
right?
he would hear things about people calling themselves thugs and automatically take it personally.
Yeah, because he felt like he was the innovator almost of that.
Yeah, and Pac didn't use thug as a negative connotation.
No, he didn't. He wore that as a
it was an acronym.
Like
Thug life was an acronym.
For him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hate you give little infants fucks everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds right.
And it may not have been
that's
significant to other people, but
Yeah.
to Pac it was everything.
Right.
And you didn't tattle on him.
That's right.
So if people use that word,
that's synonymous when you think of Tupac. You think of that
for sure.
Right?
So when Pac heard people use the term thug, he's probably like, "Oh, smack you."
I mean,
De La.
but there's a reoccurring theme here that they're all from the East Coast.
Yes, and a
He
reoccurring
never went
theme.
after, other than Chino XL, he never went after anybody from the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure.
Dre would have been.
Okay, Dre.
But Dre's not really a rapper.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But like, Sibo was saying thug. Spice One was saying thug.
And he was cool with all of them. And the thing is, I think what this album also shows is that Pac was irrational.
He was irrational.
He let things affect him.
Well said.
And he would just fire 21 guns blazing. You know, didn't hold back. Like, dude, the stuff that he says about Jimmy Henchman in this, like he.
So if you don't know what Jimmy Henchman is, he eventually became a pretty big music executive.
Mm-hmm.
But he had signed. He had something to do with the game.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
In a positive way.
Yep.
And then 50 and him had a little thing, and Henchman was. They said that he shot at Tony Yayo's mom's house. So there's a lot of beef between G Unit and Henchman. Henchman eventually went to jail, and he's in there for like, I don't know, like 7 years or something crazy like that. But he was in the streets like that.
Yeah.
And Tupac always thought that him and a guy named Haitian Jack,
Yes.
who was another like a notorious New York drug dealer,
Gangster,
background, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of very well known.
Yeah.
He thought that they were involved in the Quad Studio
Yes.
shooting that was orchestrated by Diddy, because Diddy knew these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on, sorry.
Yeah. So the stuff that he says to Haitian Jack.
Yeah.
He calls him a snitch in the song. Said he was working for the feds. It's crazy. And then Jimmy Henchman too. You know, call him a bitch, N-word.
Yeah.
And he references "The World Is Mine," and he echoes it. And I wonder if this is
Scarface?
a Nas shot. But "The World Is Mine" wouldn't have been made at that time, would it have? Did Nas make that by then? Wait, does Nas have a song called "The World Is Mine"?
Whose world is this?
That was on.
That was from Illmatic.
That was on Illmatic.
Yeah.
So I wonder what this "World Is Mine" reference is. If it's to Nas.
Not Scarface? Wasn't that his famous quote? The world is mine. Remember that he had that.
Yeah. You mean the movie Scarface?
Yeah, the movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, right? Probably not.
It could be because he says "trick." The world is mine. The world is mine. Trick. And set me up, wet me up, stuck me up. Heard the guns bust, but your tricks never shut me up.
Right.
He sounds furious in the song.
Well, Haitian Jack, Tupac said that Haitian Jack was there the night that the woman who was involved in accusing Pac of the rape. It was actually Pac's story was, or people around him said that it was actually Haitian Jack and his crew that did that, and Pac got the blame for it because they left or something.
So what the story ends up being is
that he ratted him out. Or
the woman didn't say Pac raped her. Pac and her sexual encounter was consensual.
Right.
But the people afterwards ran a train on her.
Right.
And she said Pac didn't stop and Pac wouldn't snitch it caused Pac a couple years in prison.
And
or a year
about Haitian Jack, I mean, he had to leave.
Yeah.
He had to go back to Jamaica.
Yeah.
where I think he still resides because I saw him in a documentary. So there's a reason for that. So maybe Pac is not wrong in what he said.
Well, and then he calls Puffy out by name too
Yeah, he calls
in this,
Puffy out by name, yeah.
right? And
Once friends,
yeah,
and then foes. Because they were friends at one time.
yeah, that
And then Suge Knight and Diddy were friends. Suge Knight said that. We were actually friends at one time.
yeah. The idea that Pac could have possibly been on Bad Boy,
Yeah, that was a possibility.
or the fact that Big and Pac could have had their own label.
And that was a possibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
The fact that those things could have happened.
yeah.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the beat, who chose this beat? It doesn't make sense.
Hurt and Bad, but co-produced by Makaveli.
It feels like this beat is not meant for the song. Because this song is ferocious. It's
It is.
a punch you in the face diss track.
The beat's a
beat's
little sedated, right?
Yeah, it's a little soft.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so funny.
It's a the song itself is strong, but the music it's a little bit of a weak ending to a great novel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's funny. This song it actually made me laugh when I was listening to it because, do you remember this Chappelle episode where they're showing a club
Yeah,
and they're gonna
and
and Questlove's like, we're gonna play a new Tupac song.
I remember
And-
and he's quoting.
Yeah,
Hey, I took Sue in the
This
chest.
is the illest shit I ever wrote, but I wrote it in '94.
Right.
And he's talking about the person on the dance floor and
And
stuff.
then he's talking about like modern events that's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
George Bush got elected
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Chappelle's a genius.
And it's so good, so good.
And if you gotta watch that, and you gotta watch Chappelle do Diddy. When he goes into the bodyguard's arms like a baby, it's so funny then, and now it's like, whoa, that might have really happened. Like,
And he did Prince flawlessly.
Oh,
The Prince
and Rick James.
Rick James is brilliant.
I mean, come on.
The Lil Jon,
R. Kelly.
the R. Kelly,
Yeah.
Unreal. Which did Shane say?
R. Kelly.
Yeah, shout out Shane O'Mac, chilling in the back. But yeah,
Yeah.
this song, when I heard it at first and I hear Pac's echoey bass,
Right.
the first thing I thought of was the Chappelle skit.
Right. And that's a really good parallel. You're right.
So it took away a little bit of the seriousness for me.
Right.
And then the beat took away more of the seriousness for me,
I wasn't a fan of it.
which made me kind of sad because Pac's going for throats on this.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
He really does.
So,
Would you consider this a diss song?
oh, for sure. I mean, he called Nas out by name on this for the first time.
He did.
Yeah.
But like you said, you said this on a previous song where it's like, it's a diss song, but the beat just it's like we were talking about Toss It Up. It's such a fun party song, but it's a diss song. And where this song, it sounds like more of a sedated kind of I don't know, whatever kind of
It should have been
type
a
of beat.
contemplative track.
Yeah.
And then Pac comes
Now, I'm
out.
not saying every diss song should have a militia beat. I mean, No Vaseline didn't really have a hard
Fun,
beat.
not like us, is fun beat.
Not like us.
Yeah.
doing.
But this is not even that. This is just very low feeling. There's no energy to the beat. And after listening to the song again today, I remember why when we listened to the album, we didn't even get to the song.
It's true.
Because we heard it the first time, we're like, I don't know.
We did it. I did it.
Nope.
I know for a fact I did it.
Did not.
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
I gave it a 3.5 as well.
Look at that.
Just because of the power of the disses. Because,
Look at that.
oof,
We're in sync.
it's coming for throats.
Okay. In conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
Notables for me,
Mm-hmm.
as far as where do I rank this album from Tupac's album, I would say, I'm gonna say it's not as good as All Eyes on Me, and it's probably not as good as Me Against the World, which that could be controversial because,
Mm-hmm.
but Me Against the World was very different for me. It hit harder after the fact.
For sure.
Not when it first came out,
Mhm.
but now that I was doing this song, like Lord Knows, and
Yeah.
yeah, so it's number 3 for me as far as his discography is
Mhm.
concerned. On the whole, I give the album a 4.5 out of 5, which
Ooh.
is strong. Now I
Very
could have
strong.
given it a 4, but
Mhm.
the bangers are not just bangers. They're so like I said, 96. It's going to be 30
The
years.
game changers.
next year.
Yeah, they're game changers.
It's songs that people play now that 50 and M did a freestyle on Hail Mary. Where they
Yeah.
and it hit hard.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend, right? That's been
Yeah.
remade. I mean, this stuff is it's a monumental album.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to to kind of as being his last album with him being involved. It was a nice exit.
Yeah, there's enough
Pun
meat.
intended as far as the back cover of the album.
So
right?
you give it a 4.5.
I do give it a 4. Yeah, and that was like I said, I was kind of mulling it over 4.5, 4. But like I said, the songs that are so good are just embedded.
They're iconic in the game.
They're so iconic, and for me personally, when I hear Hail Mary now, Bomb First, it's that's something. So
it's a monster.
That's for me.
I thought I liked the album more before I reheard it again.
Oh wow!
I was thinking about it. I was like,
okay.
I was playing it in my memory. I'm like, oh man, there's so many good songs on this album.
Right.
And then now when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's monumental songs.
Right.
First half of the album, unbelievable.
Right.
And then there's just the three. I would say there's 3 throwaways that don't belong. It feels weird on some of the songs because it doesn't feel like Pac would have picked those beats.
Right.
And obviously I don't know Pac. I'm just thinking musically what I've heard from Pac over the years.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Pac's catalog, so I feel like I have a good indication of what he sounds like on things. Hail Mary's by itself gives this, without any of the songs, it gives it a massive bump.
Yeah.
This one for me stops at a 4.
Okay.
And it was tough.
That's solid.
It was
That's
tough.
solid.
Yeah, because again, before I listened to it, I'm like, yeah, I think Me Against the World's Pac's best collection of music. All Eyes on Me would be second for me, and then and then Makaveli would be the third.
Yeah.
But I just felt like it's so. I want to give all Pac albums 5.
I mean, you almost want to
because Pac.
Yeah, every album has monumental tracks that really hold up now.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
My playlist still has so much Tupac music.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And now even like the young generations, our kids, our nephews, our nieces, they're listening to Tupac. They're wearing the Tupac shirts.
Both my kids love Pac.
You know, like
my daughter obviously crushes on Pac.
Yeah,
my son thinks Pac is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though they are so detached from that generation, his impact on them, you know, I see them rock the bandanas and stuff the way Pac does.
Totally.
And sometimes they don't even realize that it's because of Pac that they're doing that, right? And I don't care what anybody says. DMX can say whatever he wants. DMX is obviously influenced by Pac.
Yeah, and
there's no doubting it.
There was a lot of comparisons when DMX first came out. The tattoos, the
bandanas, the shirt off all the time.
A lot of biblical stuff, right?
Yep.
But he always said no, he wasn't. But
I don't buy it.
RIPX, but come on, don't tell me that there was not even a little bit. Come on, that's crazy.
X is the evolution of Pac, as far as the pen, because the game changed so much by the time X came out. But to say that he wasn't influenced by Pac is ridiculous. And that's not just 100%. Pac, not just X. You gotta look at Ja Rule. You gotta look at all the gangster rappers from the South. Basically, after '96, everybody that came out afterwards that was a gangster rapper was directly influenced from Pac.
Master P, literally, and C Murder changed their cadence of rapping, especially C Murder. He stretched his words a lot, right? Like, I mean, because it was they were paying homage, but at the same time they were taking what was now missing in the game. For sure. Carrying on. Yeah. Carrying it on.
And for me, when I freestyle, I use that Pac cadence. It just feels good.
If you can do it right, then do it right.
And like when I write, I know there's ways that Pac used the technique of writing that I know I've adopted for sure.
Right.
As far as sitting in the pocket, making sure you hit every single rhyme without slipping. A lot of that is influenced by Pac because, you know, some rappers sit behind the beat, some rappers sit in front of the beat.
True.
Pac is right on the motherfucker.
And I think, like you, I mean, he would never stop writing.
All the time.
And that's why there was so much material that got released, and there's still so much.
And that's one thing I took from Pac as well, to write all the time.
Yeah.
Anybody that tells me they have writer's block, I think they're full of shit. I just think that you're not in practice.
Yeah, or you're not meant for it.
For sure.
I think you're selling yourself a little short.
Yeah, and the thing is,
maybe you're not the guy.
Pac would write in a way where the page itself would be a work of art.
Yeah.
Like he would create shapes and patterns with his raps.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like he would do these weird designs in the corners of the pages and stuff. And for me, I free write all the time.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, if you want to be a great writer, your pen's got to move.
Right.
And that's taken directly from Pac. All the stories we heard about Pac, making an album in 2 weeks, just getting in the studio, tracks written before the producer's done the beat, like all these crazy stories that we hear. Him going in the booth one time, doing the whole freaking song front to back. A lot of those kind of meticulous behaviors, I jacked directly from Pac. Because I think if you want to be great...
You jacked it. I think you were inspired by it.
Hugely inspired by it. Because I think if you want to be great, you got to look at the people that are the greatest, and if your habits aren't where the greatest habits are, then you're not going to be great.
Why not emulate the best?
Absolutely.
Right.
And that goes for athletics, that goes for
almost anything
else in life that you do,
so
right?
True.
And he set the bar really, really high because of the personal accomplishments and the material accomplishments and the impact that he had even when he was alive.
Yeah.
Think about when Pac was alive doing runways in France for Versace, right? Dating Madonna.
Like just like celebrity shit without
he was
really thinking he was a celebrity.
Essentially, his whole from 92 to 96, his whole life was viral.
It's true.
Everything he did was viral.
That's so true.
Right? Juice was phenomenal.
Before the word viral existed.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if Pac was alive in the social media era, there would be no space for anybody else. Yeah. It would be like Tupac TV.
It would be quotables all day long.
All day.
Right?
All day. Tupac TV.
Now, if this album was released today, and he had passed, same scenario, but it was released today in 2025.
Yeah.
What type of impact does it make?
Holy.
Does it make an impact?
Absolutely. So Pac he's an urban legend. Right?
Well said.
Like his existence is now an urban legend because people romanticize him 30 years after his death.
Right. But they don't know a lot.
Yeah, they didn't live it.
They Google it.
It's all secondhand information.
Right.
Right? But us having lived it, it would be similar to people having lived Elvis, people having lived MJ.
Right.
And not being alive when it happened, but being able to experience it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were kids when MJ came out, the impact was phenomenal, but we didn't understand what MJ really was. We were just like, this is great. He's really cool. Music's really cool. But we were like,
we grew up with Pac.
We were at that age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We were at that age where we could feel him, understand him, and these guys, like this new generation, wants to feel that so badly.
Do you think we were fortunate?
Hugely fortunate.
We were, right?
We grew up in a phenomenal time.
Right.
And I feel like because of that thing that Pac did,
so
many rappers get cursed. And their fan bases want to make them that. Like I think
idolize them.
Yeah, like I think it happened to T.I.
Idol worship,
right? I think it happened to T.I. and then T.I. had the whole jail thing that happened and didn't hold up to the whole gangsta image that everyone expected.
They just can't do it.
But fans want that. They want to create. They want their artists to be myths almost.
Great point. Has there been a hip hop artist since Pac that has done that idol worship or that larger than life persona in some sort of way? DMX, maybe?
X is close. But I think the personal struggles for X take away a lot. Because there was a period of time where you didn't know where he was. He was just gone.
Right. That's a good point. He wasn't always relevant.
Yeah, and because he was gone, he left on not a great note. Like I think Grand Champ was that album. He put out that album Grand Champ.
You mean before
he disappeared?
That was the last album.
Yeah, and that had some tracks.
It wasn't
an album.
No.
Right?
No.
So I feel like outside of Pac, there really is nobody. I mean, you could say Kendrick is building that because he's got the Pulitzer. He's had the culture recognize him in these crazy ways.
I think you're not wrong.
But Pac also had the movie stuff.
You know, I think with Kendrick I think he's got some of that.
Yeah.
The only thing is, there's just, and I don't know if it's just him as physically or as a person. It's not impactful.
It's not. No. And the thing is,
Pac was it's not just the tough guy tattoos. Yeah. Those tattoos meant something.
And the weird thing is,
we get tattoos now for stupid reasons. They
all meant something.
They all meant something.
Yeah.
Even with Tyson, right?
Yes.
Malcolm X, like there was a reason.
Yeah.
So when you saw Pac, it was, I don't know, there was just something.
Everything about him breathed life.
Real men. He was a guy's guy, but the females loved him. Like he just kind of hit all. And you're right. I can't think of. You're right. Kendrick might be there.
I'll give you another one that might
it's
be
hard.
better. So this is woman that I know. Her name is Ninachka Roska. She's a Filipino author, political activist.
Oh, nice.
She actually had to flee the Philippines during Marcos's era because she was writing about them.
Right.
And she was exiled to the U.S. And
she had wrote negative things about
the Marcos.
Well, they were a bunch of scam artists, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
And she came for the throats.
Right.
And we were having a conversation. So Daga introduced me to her. Shout out
R.I.P. Daga.
Daga Muffin, R.I.P. And Daga introduced me to her. She really liked my writing and stuff that we were doing. And we were talking about Pac. And she's a huge feminist. Massive feminist.
Right.
Like women's rights to the death. And puts her body and her brain on the line for those things.
Wow.
And we were talking about Pac, and someone brought up the sexual assault thing. And then she said, the woman never said, this is kind of where I got the facts of the case was from her. And then she said, what makes Tupac special is he has his mom's eyes. So when you see him, you're looking at a woman's eyes.
Right.
So there's a softness to Pac because of his eyes that most men don't carry.
Interesting.
And I heard that and I was like, God damn. When you look at Pac, Afeni's eyes are identical.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And I heard that I was kind of like, wow. So he makes women feel safe in his presence because of that thing.
And he was more relatable because he was raised by a female.
Yes.
And he was surrounded.
And that sensitivity bled off him.
Right.
Right. And I think men felt that as well through songs like "Smile."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good one. That's a good one.
And even "Who Do You Believe In" is, to me, one of his greatest songs.
Well, and a song like "Dear Mama," I mean, if that doesn't pull at your heartstrings,
unbelievable.
Really make you think about like.
Like there's a great Stallone story about that too, because Stallone heard that song.
Go for it.
And so Stallone heard the song "Dear Mama," absolutely loved it. Pac was in prison, and Stallone writing letters.
Really?
Prison, yeah. Very
so we're talking like 94, 95.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Stallone was one of those. Jim Carrey was also another one.
That one I did hear.
That would write letters to Pac.
I did hear.
Which is crazy because his cultural currency was
cultural. Did you come up with that?
I think I've heard someone.
Impressive.
I think I've heard someone.
Never heard that.
Maybe
that's impressive.
Yeah. So cultural currency. I like it.
I
think it holds a lot of value.
That could be an album.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Down South album title from the late 90s that never came out.
And someone that would never even say the word on the album. They just titled it that.
And the currency, all the S's would have like the dollar sign. Yeah. Right?
All the way through.
Yeah, all the way through.
So here's an artist that I think has that same cultural currency. That's today. Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
I feel like he has that Pac thing.
Agreed.
Where his fans will ride with him to the edges of the earth.
Agreed.
Everything he does is gold.
That's a very great comparison.
Because there's no rappers that do it.
Because Chappelle really can't do no wrong.
At all.
Like even when he makes jokes about the LGBT, he doesn't do it in a negative way.
It's not.
He's got friends.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm telling you a story. Like, take it as face value. And a lot of people are like, yeah, no, this guy, he's not bullshitting us. He's not a racist.
Yeah.
He's not a homophobic. He's just telling his story.
And his insight, the way he sees the world.
Right.
Is, I don't think anybody else sees it the way he sees it.
It's very black and white.
It's very black and white. But it's also so satirical.
Yeah.
He doesn't take anything seriously. Nothing. His own death, his family's death, he doesn't take anything. To him, everything is funny.
It's true.
Everything.
He can make an uncomfortable topic comfortable.
Super. And because of that buy-in that his fans have, he's created this mythological thing for himself as well. The podcast that he does with Yassine Bey and Talib Kweli.
I haven't seen it. I should.
Miracle Mile. It's one of those podcasts that's really weird because
it is good.
It's amazing because they do it at his little compound in Ohio
or farm or whatever.
Yeah, so he's got a compound. He basically took an old gas station garage and turned it into his like a little studio.
Right.
And so
is that where he did the Letterman interview?
Yes.
Right.
So the crazy shit is he'll be doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And him, Most, and Yassine will just be talking. And then Letterman will just interrupt. No one knows he's in the room. He's just sitting in the room.
There.
Just sitting in the room.
Yeah.
And these massive.
He has no reason to be hanging out with
David motherfucking Letterman.
A 70-plus-year-old white man.
One of the greatest
one of our
talk show
favorite-
hosts
yeah,
ever.
both, but like, there's no real correlation between him and Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
In that sense, other than they're both comedians.
And then you get those throughout the Miracle Mile podcast.
Yeah.
You just get these massive names that just want to come in and say their 2 cents.
That's very
and then
true.
pop out and you listen to this like, wow, Chappelle just creates this world for himself.
Yeah.
That's so super exclusive. Everybody wants to be a part of it.
People want to latch on to him like they want that we wanted to latch on to Pac, and even to this day, like you said, the youth, they want to latch on to something.
And I think the beautiful thing about having artists that do that are also, at least what we can see, good humans.
Right.
It propels people to want to be better.
Right.
Instead of latching on to degenerates, like, Future and these rappers that are like the bottom of the barrel as far as what they put out into the world. Instead of wanting to keep your frequency there, right?
Yeah.
You keep your frequency aligned with greatness, and then everyone wants to be better. And I hate using this example, but it's a legitimate example. When Barack Obama was president, graduation rates for black students skyrocketed.
Right.
Because you have an influence you can look at and say, that person, that thing right there makes me feel like I need to be better.
You're inspired.
So inspired, right? And Pac does that. For me, Chappelle does that as an artist. And I think Pac left a massive hole when he left. Which is interesting because...
Nobody took the baton and carried on.
No, but what ended up happening was it birthed like 40 different mega rappers. So many careers were born after Pac passed. Massive careers.
And if it didn't birth the career, it escalated their career.
Yes.
Like a Jay-Z was already there.
Yeah.
Reasonable Doubt had come out.
Yeah.
While Pac was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gave a shit.
Nobody gave a shit.
Not on this side. Maybe on the East Coast. Not here.
Barely.
And then Pac passes away, and he's selling 5 million albums straight out the back.
Because there's space now.
And the DMX.
Yeah.
Master P.
Yeah.
Ja Rule.
That whole generation of artists weren't selling records when Pac was alive. Pac was the one selling records.
Do you think there was a reason why it was almost meant to end with him because nobody else could do it?
That makes me sad if that's the case.
Like, there's not going to be another MJ.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, no.
Who did he give the baton to?
No, there's no...
Really.
I mean, Kobe kind of...
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess. Wait. Are you talking about Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan?
I'm talking about Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. There was no baton passed.
So sometimes maybe it's left to be where it was, but I think I see what you're saying because Tupac had a message that can be continued.
Yes.
But you're right. In that sense, you're right. Kendrick is that guy.
Yeah.
Because he does talk a lot about topics that are about
social justice and activism.
So you're right. I think right now he's probably one of the few that's really still he can incorporate it in his popular songs.
Exactly. Having a pop song called King Kunta is crazy.
It's true. And have every type of race go wow.
Yeah, and like even Alright, the song Alright, the hook is a beautiful, powerful song.
Yeah.
And then the verses are deep and intense.
Right.
And I mean, Pac said it best. To summarize the episode, Pac said it best. He may not be the person to change the world, but he's gonna spark the brain of the person that does.
One of the greatest quotes of all time.
And I think he's done it for us. I think he's done it for millions of people, across the world. To this day, Pac graffiti all over the world. Pac music plays all over the world. Podcasts talk about him, including us. Like, he's still here.
The way he dressed, his movies. I mean, you're talking. You guys know Juice. You guys know Poetic Justice.
Mm-hmm.
You know Above the Rim. But what about Gridlock?
Gang related.
Mm-hmm. Like a Bullet. Like, come on. Like, you gotta. If you haven't seen.
He popularized the West Side. Obviously, many people have done it, but Pac popularized it.
AIDS test to make the movie Poetic Justice because Janet Jackson wouldn't do a movie with him unless he did that. Yeah.
It's a real one. And one song we didn't shout out, honorable mention, one of the greatest Pac songs, So Many Tears.
100%.
Beautiful song.
100%.
But this is a great album. This was fun to listen to again.
It was fun. It was great that we've done an iconic group, NWA. Now we've done an iconic artist. And like I said, our favorite artist of all time. So shout out R.I.P.
And some funny current news. I hate that Diddy's even a topic of conversation.
Are we doing news now?
Yeah, we'll do a little dive into the news.
Okay, so we're ending off. So we're gonna end off our pods with some some hip hop news,
Some hip hop current events.
weekly or bi-weekly, however you want to call it, news that, a couple of topics that we want to bring about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Go ahead.
One that I found really funny,
Right.
interesting, was Kid Cudi.
And if you're not following the Diddy trial, you must be living under a rock, because everybody and their mom knows what's going on. I mean, I'm not even following that. I mean, I'm hearing things. My wife tells me some stuff about it, which is great. But yeah, do you want to kind of give us a little background on that? Like why? Okay, why is Kid Cudi even on trial, or why is he?
So he was subpoenaed to testify.
Yeah, why is he testifying in the Diddy trial?
I don't want to talk about Cassie's situation too much because it's not fair. She was really dehumanized.
Yeah,
agreed. But Cassie was dating Cudi.
Right.
And Cudi was an up-and-coming superstar. Cudi was on his way to Kanye-esque fame.
Yeah, we're talking Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon, Day and Night
right?
Cudi.
Just
super. Honestly, Cudi's rocket was unreal.
He was like the Kendrick and Drake.
He was getting there,
right? Yeah.
And he had the same kind of fandom for quite a while.
Great.
Until he just stopped making music.
Yeah, Kanye as a major producer. I mean, what else?
He was on Good Music in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was dating Cassie. Puff didn't like it. Puff fucked shit up. Came to his house, assaulted his dog, firebombed his Porsche. I think it was a Porsche. Firebombed it. So Kid Cudi was subpoenaed to testify at the Cassie trial to show a pattern of behavior that Sean Combs was this irrational, violent, psychotic person, and he obviously was. You
know what? It's and it's funny because I have the Diddy trial on my news, so I'm glad that you brought it up. This is a mutual discussion here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not get it twisted. Sean Puffy Combs is a gangster, and he was a son of a gangster.
Facts.
I think a lot of people glaze over that.
Yep.
They don't realize his dad, Melvin Combs, was a certified gangster in Harlem. Certified, who got shot in the streets when he was 5 years old. So he doesn't know anything but this. I think people see Diddy now. They see the white party. They see before this whole trial. They see him as this floss
college kid.
His mom working 2-3 jobs to put him through private school. But they don't realize where he comes from and what he comes from.
Yep.
And you can't. What's the quote? My dad always used to say, you can take the person out of the village, but you can't take the village out of the person.
Facts.
And I think he always had that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always he wouldn't show it. He wouldn't show you all the cards, but behind the scenes, that's when it came out. And you saw some of it in like making the band where he would snap.
And just the stupid shit he would get people to do.
Yeah, go get me a cheesecake from Junior's.
A walk there.
14 miles or whatever ridiculous thing it was in the cold.
And walk.
But then at the same time, that's some of what got him to where he was. Right, as an executive,
because
he had to fight.
He was ruthless.
People, right?
He was ruthless
to get to where he was.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think one thing people don't take into consideration, which people really need to talk about more, is who groomed Puff when he came in the industry. He came under monsters. Clive Davis, Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
He came under these big entities in the music industry.
Who were his mentors.
And 100% his mentors. Yeah. He was an unpaid intern for a very long time.
Yes, he was with Uptown.
Yeah, with Uptown Records. He was grinding. He was around all these things.
Yeah.
And as much as we want to look at Puff as he's just a symptom of the problem, right?
Well
the problem
said.
is people that have too much power do horrible shit. Yeah. And Puff had way too much power for way too long.
I mean, wasn't he hip-hop's first almost billionaire?
Almost. Actually, you think he was Ciroc? I think Ciroc made him a billionaire.
If you liquidated everything,
yeah.
He almost was.
I think he was listed as hip-hop's first billionaire.
He was hip-hop's first couture designer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Sean John was on runways.
And I mean, this guy...
And he left a trail, dude. He left a horrible trail of people damaged, destroyed, dead, broke.
Black Rob.
The Locks almost. If Rough Riders didn't save them. 112 was broke-ish.
Lude.
Shine.
Lude came back. Shine.
Went to jail for so long for Puff. 10 years, man. Mace returned to God. G-Dep, another one was broke.
Yeah.
It's this constant stream of these people that get... Craig Mack, another one's died.
Mack. But I feel like the people he liked, he took care of them till the end. The people he wasn't really, he did it. Like he was kind of this doctor Jekyll, right?
Yeah, he used
Right,
he used them. He knew who he needed to use in the moment.
Yeah.
Like Total got used and
Total got
thrown away.
used. 112.
Yeah, I feel like he knew how to use. He's a very manipulative person. Like, he knew how to use people.
It's true.
And it's interesting how like now a
Yeah.
lot of dudes that kind of kept Puff relevant in this era, like the French Montanas,
Yeah.
and the Meek Mills, they've kind of been able to sidestep all this mess.
Oh, especially Meek Mill.
Yeah.
Meek Mill made a reference about like the no Diddy thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you're the same guy. Like, that's loyalty to you. Like, even if you don't want to get involved, just don't say anything.
But don't all of a sudden be on the other side.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Get out of here.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The
But
whack rapper too.
hate it or love it, in my opinion, hip hop needed Puff.
Yeah.
Hip hop wouldn't be the same without Diddy, and I'm gonna say that all day long.
Commercially, what Puff did for hip hop was very important. Commercially, he showed that hip hop could be the main attraction, that it could be the number one on music charts, visually and musically. I think he upped the corporate profile of hip hop.
I agree, and I think he inspired young
So
executives
many
to have their own label, or to, I mean,
He ushered in a whole new generation of music.
his music production, and whatever he was involved in, because
Yeah.
he had the Hitman and whatnot. But I mean,
D-Dog.
he was involved in a lot of that. The
For
samples,
sure, for
I mean,
sure.
You're not
He was
telling me
there,
that
for sure.
Kanye was inspired by those samples, heavy
100%.
samples,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Big time.
right? And it's tough because some of my favorite songs are from Diddy.
J. Cole at one point said Puff was his favorite rapper in one of the songs,
That's crazy, right?
right? But I think
But you can you listen to a Diddy song?
I've cut out all Diddy.
Yes, yeah, I have too. And
Yeah.
I was probably a bigger Diddy fan than you.
For sure,
I went to his restaurant in New York back in 2000. I mean, it's tough for me.
Yeah.
But I can't listen. I can't.
It's too much. It's too much.
And we still don't know exactly what's happening yet.
And the Pac stuff, like, you know, potentially he may have been. I mean, we've always thought he was responsible for Pac's death.
There's
But
a
now
lot of
it's come to the
allegations.
surface
Yeah.
that the dude that just got off.
Not KVD.
KVD.
Yeah.
Yeah. He claimed that Puff put $1 million bounty.
Yeah.
For Pac's
or he
death.
paid like the Bloods or the Crips or something. I don't know, something involved in that.
Yeah. So all that stuff, man, and it's just we're at a point where Puff, I hate to say it, he might get off. He might get off.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and you know what? I think I'm on that. I'm leaning towards that too because the Cassie thing. Say what you want, but that's been settled.
He
in
paid
a
her.
sense.
Civil suit. He paid her.
So all it is now is getting information on him to make
Now they're trying to. They're basically trying to get him on prostitution charges.
Right.
And human trafficking.
Right.
And the human trafficking is essentially paying women to go from one side of the country to the other side of the country.
I was explaining that to somebody that day. Although the term is bad, in his scenario, it's not as bad as what it.
Yes.
You know what I mean,
yes.
right?
It's not smuggling humans.
Thank you. And I think that's where a lot of people are not doing their research. They don't understand.
And I get it, you know, but it's wild because politicians right now, like Matt Gaetz, American congressman, was paying underage girls
Jeffrey
to
Epstein?
come across the border. I mean, Epstein was the kind of the ringleader of all of them, right?
But not even him. All those people who attended his island. What about those people?
He was the president.
Prince Andrew's not in jail.
One of them is the president of the United States.
I haven't seen him in jail. Bill Clinton's not in jail.
Yeah,
but you're gonna put a black man who's famous and went against a huge corporation to get more money from Ciroc. I don't know. It just seems
there's
not to sugarcoat what he's done.
Yep.
No question about it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like pick and choose on who we're gonna go against.
There's definitely some of that as well. But I think Puff just got too big.
Oh, definitely.
And
he got a little greedy.
Too criminal.
And he took his power. You're right. He took it to a point of, like, you got to be Julius Caesar to take care of all your people, right? That's why he was one of the best leaders. Their people. He shared them out. Diddy didn't do that.
Well said.
And now they're all coming back to get him.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you heard the stories back in the days, you're like, these guys are crazy, and now you're like, probably did go. If Diddy gets acquitted or he's found not guilty. Well, what's the next step? Is he gonna sail off in the wind and never be seen again, or does he Do you see him coming back and being like?
Oh, of course he's gonna try to come back.
You think so?
He's gonna try to come back.
You don't think the
try
damage has been done?
Damage has been done, but he's gonna try to be the king of the world again. He's gonna try to show, they tried to come get me and I fought them off and I won.
See, I think it's gonna be the opposite.
You think he's gonna vanish?
I think he's gonna stay away from the spotlight because the information that's out there is
it's already damning enough.
You can't come back from that.
No, but I think
R. Kelly couldn't come back from that.
Hey, R. Kelly's trying to come back right now.
No one's
gonna take him seriously.
Right, and Diddy's on a higher scale because more people.
Yeah.
Diddy's not just like it's not just hip hop. Diddy is celebrities.
Global.
Used to love Diddy.
Global.
They wanted to be part of his parties. Why do you think half of them are there?
They're all in the pictures.
They're not going there for his music.
I think
they wanted to be a part of something bigger.
I would want him to walk away. I think who he is won't let him walk away. I think
you're not wrong.
I think he's a masochist. I think
he's an egomaniac.
100% an egomaniac.
Yeah.
I think he wants to prove that he can do whatever he wants.
Maybe.
Whenever he wants, however he wants.
Maybe. I think this might humble him a little bit.
I don't know. I hope so. I hope it ends. We don't need Puff in the world anymore.
No.
Sorry.
Well, that's a Diddy Strauss, yeah. Discussion. I got two more things. Mm-hmm. So Kanye West recently claimed that he's officially done with anti-Semitism. And you probably heard this. He made a couple quotes saying sorry and he wants love in the world. And what do you think about that?
Kanye is vomit-inducing at this point.
Do you think so? So that statement is not coming from, and the following statements after that, which he's made, that's not coming from a genuine place. That's why do you think he's flip-flopping?
That dude that we had, that we loved, is gone.
That I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
But you don't think what he's saying now is maybe a reflection of what he's said and said?
I think the
like
release.
There's no genuine.
Well, the release of this album, I think, was a big wake-up call.
Yeah.
Because it did no numbers. No. It did nothing.
And it shouldn't.
And I haven't listened to it at all.
I haven't either.
I'm sure it's great music because Kanye doesn't really do.
It's true.
Bad music.
Even his bad albums
are still pretty solid
like Donda
music. Yeah. I mean, it might be boring, but I mean, he knows how to make hits.
You know,
so I
can't
think,
listen to a song.
And what the fuck?
I mean, you just can't.
White people were going viral on TikTok because they were doing it, the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sure I'm sure racists love it.
Yeah, so I think the numbers taking a massive hit for him was a big wake up call. Like, oh fuck, I actually lost people this time.
So you think he's doing it just because to salvage?
It's panic mode. He's trying to recover
his career, not so much a genuine.
Yeah, 100%. He doesn't have to work again. He's rich enough to vanish and do nothing ever again.
Yeah.
But again, I think he's very much like Puff. He's an egomaniac. He's a narcissist.
Yeah.
Has to be seen. Has to be in the spotlight.
It's true.
He could have done that if the Trump thing was the last thing he did, and then he tried to come back from that. Yeah. There was space. But he just fucking jumped off the deep end, man.
I agree.
Like,
there's no coming back
shit.
For it. Now, we talked about this, but Kanye West, he's off your listening as well, eh?
Which sucks balls.
I'm going to say, I don't listen to him as much as I do, but he's almost kind of off.
It sucks.
Yeah. Last topic for me. Fat Joe and Jadakiss, two notable rappers, have joined, I don't know if you heard, but they recently joined forces to launch their own podcast called Jada and Joe, or the Joe and Jada podcast. I'm going to start watching it soon. There are 6 episodes in. What's your thoughts on, first of all, the collaboration between the two, them as artists? Do we need another hip-hop podcast? Are they doing it just to jump on the Drink Champs and whatever else?
Yeah.
Or are they doing it for the love of hip-hop? See, we're doing this for the love of hip-hop. We're not getting paid. Hopefully we might one day, but we're not. We're just doing it. We're taking our own time.
Yeah.
We're,
we love the culture.
Yeah. What's your takes on it?
It's a weird one for me because I haven't seen any episodes either. I know that they started it.
Would you watch an episode?
I love Jada.
Because you do like podcasts.
Jada's amazing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite rappers. Great lyricist. Great personality. I love all the side missions he does. He's got this weird fitness. He's got a juice bar. He's got this weird fitness kick.
Dad.
Yeah, he's got the coffee thing,
right, yeah.
and he does all these weird fitness things that I didn't know he could do. I'm like, dude, this guy's crazy. But he's not fun to listen to in a podcast. Like he doesn't have tons to offer. He talks really slowly. I feel like he sounds disinterested a lot of the time. I don't think he is.
wrong.
I don't think he is disinterested.
He's not built for it, right?
I don't feel like it makes sense.
It takes some of his griminess away.
That's for sure. I think Joe forfeited his griminess a long time ago.
Wait, okay. Well said. When you see Fat Joe at a Knicks game with a 70-year-old a bandana, he's wearing it like
a babushka.
He's a housewife.
Yeah, nah,
Like a
nah,
babushka?
son. Nah, son.
Well said. You're done.
Nah, with those big space
You're
boots.
out.
No.
I mean, the beard was one thing.
Yeah.
We could live with that, sort of. But that babushka, I mean, you're done.
Gotta go.
I'm sorry.
Go.
There's no street cred left in that,
Gotta
Joe.
go.
You can't do it.
And I'm cool with it because Snoop kind of did the same thing. Shed the gangster layer. Everyone loves Snoop Dogg. Fat Joe's trying to do the same thing.
Listen, you can shed the gangster layer, but you can't. Like 50 Cent kind of shed the gangster
Big time.
layer,
50 Cent's corporate.
but he's still a gangster.
Still a gangster. Through and through. Unmistakable.
Like nobody.
In the way he walks, the way he talks, the way he moves. Even when he's corporate, he's still gangster.
And that's the difference.
Can't
right?
run from it. But that's because he's so sure of himself.
Right.
And I think Fat Joe felt like he had to soften himself up to be more palatable to more people.
Good point.
Because Joe was a bad dude.
He was.
Yeah.
Joe from the Bronx,
He's a hood dude,
Yeah.
Many stories we've heard about him putting people in check.
He was that
physically.
guy for a long time.
Yeah. He was Pun's number 2.
Yeah.
And I like him as a personality. I think Joe could carry a podcast.
He does. He is funny.
He's funny. He's got great stories.
He's got some great lines.
He's been around
Like
forever.
Today's news was right. What the fuck that he did?
Yesterday's price is not today.
Today, thank you. Yeah.
And
so he is. Yeah.
He's been a fixture. He's been around the greats. He's been around the legends.
Yes, you've seen a lot.
He survived. He's been making hits ever since.
He was part of DITC.
Yeah,
so
dude.
he's a lyricist.
He's got the cred.
He's got the street cred. He's got the hip hop cred. He's made some.
He makes bangers.
They're right. That we
and
know.
He'll drop a hit every couple of years just to stay relevant.
True.
So he does a great job.
Yeah.
Being a hip hop celebrity.
Right.
I like him being a podcast host. I just don't know why Jada's there.
So you're okay with Joe? Don't like Jada.
I love Jada. I just don't know why he's doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But you know what? 7 years ago, we could have said the same thing about Nori.
Yeah, Nori was a weird one.
Because
Nori is
dumb.
He was dumb as fuck in the beginning.
Nori.
He would just say wild shit that didn't make sense.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But 4 or 5 episodes in.
Build.
Hey, this is not bad. And he's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gone really commercial now, which all the greats kind of do.
But I think EFN is a great buffer.
EFN, shout out to EFN.
Yeah,
first
big
of all.
shout out DJ EFN.
That guy has not changed since day one.
At all. He's a real dude.
He will say what he wants. He'll call out rappers. He does not give a shit.
He's a DJ.
Half of them don't even get his name right. They call him effin'.
Yep. He's still a DJ.
Still a DJ.
Vinyl DJ.
That's correct.
And
one of the
who's
few left.
One of the coolest celebrities because he's like replied to my tweets and stuff. We've had a couple convos on Twitter.
Right. Yeah.
So he's a human. He's a human person.
Mama Wana.
I've tried Mama Wana because of DJ EFN.
In the DR.
In the Dominican. So yeah, I think DJ EFN was like the great.
He's a real one.
He's a good counterbalance to Nori.
He is.
Nori kind of goes off the deep end, goes a little crazy.
Yeah.
FN
and he gets really drunk, and EFN doesn't.
EFN brings it all back.
Yeah, EFN doesn't.
Yeah, he brings it all back and makes it all fit again.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good balance.
And he really knows his hip hop history. Like he actually really detailed. Where even the artists like, oh shit, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
dude, he's certified.
They don't remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So do we need that pot? Regardless of Jada being there or not, do we need another hip hop podcast?
I think the audience will be there for Fat Joe.
They're getting great views.
Yeah.
Side note, the first 3 episodes were between 50,000 views to about 90, and then the last 300, 400,000. So momentum is building.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's just curiosity, word of mouth, or a general interest in what they're saying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there could be. There could be more hip hop podcasts. As long as they're not just hip hop podcasts. Like, they gotta have something else to offer. If they're just telling stories of old and have guests and they all just tell stories of old, that's gonna get played out. But if they have a a purpose for the podcast.
Yeah.
Like our podcast is very deliberate. We talk about the music, we talk about the songs, the albums.
Right.
We go through the
History
sequence of
behind
giving you the
it.
score,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
those details.
yeah.
But if they're just gonna get on and tell stories, it's gonna get played out.
It's mundane, right?
Yeah, because Nori's got that locked.
He does.
You can't do it better than drink champs.
You can't, and because of the alcohol aspect, you get a lot more. People get loose.
And they've had so many incredible viral moments.
Yeah.
Culture shifting moments.
True.
Artists that not really everybody else would get or talk to.
Yeah.
Right? So I think they got that block covered. I think Fat Joe is a celebrity enough to get non-hip hop celebrities on.
I agree.
Which is the reason why I think it'll be okay.
I think so too.
That's just Jada. It's weird.
So for next week's or for our next pod, when we do the news, I have a project for both of us. We gotta watch one episode of the Joe and Jada.
Okay, I can do that.
We gotta watch just one episode.
I'm down.
And just say and make a conscious follow up to see. Okay, it wasn't bad, or it was.
Or if we're just talking shit.
Yeah. Any episode, it doesn't matter.
I like that.
Okay.
I'm with that.
I'm done.
It's another episode of 90s Till Infinity. It's Elite. You can find me online pretty much everywhere. The same thing. ITS_ALITE.
Shout out, Elite.
And one more thing. Just a quick cheap plug. June the 13th, we're doing a great cultural event.
Yes.
It's the Girmitia Day celebration, but we talk about the struggle of our ancestors. We're doing it at Surrey City Hall. It's on the 13th of June. It goes from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Great cultural programming. If you want to learn more about the identity of Indo-Fijian people, their struggle, their plight, and what it took for them to get to this place in the world today, we'd love to see you there. That's Riz, the hip-hop connoisseur. Shane O'Mac in the cut. It's Elite, y'all.
Peace.
Peace. Okay. This is the...
I like the clap there.
We got a comment here. Let's get out of here first.